A little late, but I'll open up the meeting of the Carroll County Board of Commissioners for June 10th. And first item on the agenda is public input. So anybody that's got public input, please come forward. Yes, Mr. Brown.
Why the change of the meeting from tomorrow to today?
Because we've been invited to attend an RSVP annual meeting.
Annual meeting.
And we have gone to those in the past. I don't believe they were on Wednesdays, but this particular one happens to be on a Wednesday.
An annual meeting for?
RSVP.
RSVP.
For
Okay.
people that don't know what that is that...
It's an organization that is funded by the county, and that it's all volunteer work. They provide transportation for different people. They may do Meals on Wheels to people that can't get out. It's a volunteer organization. They deserve a lot of credit for what they do. And I know commissioners have attended those in the past, so that's why it was changed.
And I think it stands for Retired Senior Volunteer
Volunteers.
Program.
And I saw on the internet that the major of the jail has been promoted to superintendent. Can you tell me where that was done in a public meeting?
We are going to open up what happened in non-public, and that's when you'll find out.
Pardon me?
Just hold that until a little bit later in our meeting, and we'll answer that question, okay?
And it was done in a public meeting?
Why does it have to be done in a public meeting?
It was done in a non-public meeting last week. And because of the confusion and stuff that took place last week, we didn't bring it out. Okay? Anybody else got any public comment? Anybody? If not, then we will move into our normal meeting schedule, and we'll do it.
Morning.
Good morning, Will.
Just have a couple.
Yep, thank you.
Just a couple quick things to go over. Getting that time of the year where there's 3 or 4 main things that that take up 99% of our time. So last week we got the garden, the big garden across from the jail. We've got that pretty much all planted. There's a couple of rows left that I'm starting some plants inside to move outside. And then we hope to get those out maybe this week, or the end of the week possibly. The problem we're having is we did up a second garden. We're trying to grow a lot more things this year. And our second garden is in the old garden spot behind the old nursing home. We planted 4 flats of peppers out there, and the geese have gone through and eaten all of the leaves right off the plants. They're little branches sitting out there when I went out and checked on them last night. We grew all the squash out there last year. We didn't have a problem with them eating the squash. I kind of didn't think that geese would want to eat peppers. I thought they'd be safe out there, but apparently I was wrong. I don't know, shy of fencing in that area, I don't know what we can do. I was going to try a couple other crops over there to see, to try to use the space, but there.
Do you think that they would go over a 4-foot fence?
At this time, I don't think so, because they're molting and they can't fly, so they're walking everywhere with their babies out there. Generally now is when they lose all their feathers, and about mid-August before they start, or beginning August.
I got some woven fence that I use to keep the bear out of my bees that I'm not using.
Yeah.
I'd be glad to bring it down and let you use it.
Okay.
It's in sections, so you'd have to put it all together, but it's
Sure.
self-supporting. It's got the stakes.
Oh, okay,
and everything with it.
yeah, right, that would be a big
Might try
help.
it again.
Yeah, because we got some snow fencing type out there that we were gonna try to put up possibly,
Mhm.
but,
There's some red, or orange fencing.
That's the snow.
that's the
That's
snow
what you're
fence.
talking about?
Yeah, but
Okay.
it's not enough to go around the whole area, it's a pretty big patch out there, but,
Yeah.
maybe that with what you have will give a good, see where we're
Yeah, I
at
don't know
anyway.
how much I have, but I'll bring whatever. I've
Why
got.
don't we have Rob come in, see if we can negotiate a roast goose dinner? This is crazy,
Yeah.
they're everywhere, and there are more and more of them every year, and
Yep.
we can't get our work done.
And I'm hoping the other thing is, I was thinking about is that, if we get a dry stretch of weather here, I wanna start haying, and I was gonna take the field right on the other side of the pond first, because once that gets knocked down, they tend to graze over there on the regrowth of grass. And right now where it's so tall, they're afraid to go in that tall grass, because of predators, I think. But I'm thinking if I cut that, maybe that'll help distract them to go on that side of the pond a little bit also. I don't know, went out there this weekend when I was here turning irrigation on and off. I noticed maybe a third of them got eaten, and then all of a sudden by last night, there's probably 2 pepper plants left in the whole thing that wasn't hit.
That's too bad.
So,
They're only hitting pepper plants.
well, that's all I have planted in that garden
Oh,
right
okay.
so far. We were gonna plant sweet corn out there, but I know that they'll go rip the corn out, so I'm looking at
Yep.
putting that somewhere else.
Yep. Okay.
The next thing is I wanted to, again, thank Commissioner Babson. Came up 2 weekends ago. We spread more compost on the garden with his horses, which we got the second garden, so we were able to get both gardens with him coming up, which was a big help because we don't have a spreader that would do that. As I was just saying a minute ago, waiting for good weather to start haying. The grass is looking good. It's starting to head out and it needs to be cut. We just got to get some 3-day windows where we can start getting it put up. The lawn care is an ongoing thing, it seems, obviously, this time of the year. I think the boys have been doing a really good job. It looks nice out there.
Yep.
They've been working hard, trying to keep that up between rain and whatnot. We've been processing wood still, doing some bagging. We need to get back to doing more bagging, and then stacking stuff out in the wood lot for fall cordwood sales. So that's been going on.
Are you catching up? Are you going to have enough wood to supply the campgrounds?
Well, we
This
have
summer?
enough.
This
We have
summer?
enough wood to supply them. It's the critical part is getting bagged. You know, we're ahead right now, but usually it's mid-July, and then all of a sudden mid-July through August, first part of September is the big push when we go through a ton of it. So
Yeah.
we're probably, can't remember how many we delivered out so far this season, but we've probably delivered out 2,000 or 3,000, and we had almost 7,000, so we're probably still 4,000 or 5,000 ahead. But that doesn't take long to start going through when some of these are calling every other week, you know, wanting it. So we really need to get more put up. Last week, working with Wendy, I hauled some telephone poles from the electric co-op up on Chickville Road down to the high school, Kingswood High School. They're obviously, as we know, their program has been working on the trails out here, and they got some wetland crossings, and so they wanted to take some phone poles, and they got a portable bandsaw down there, and they wanted to slab them off so that they can use them as runners, and then possibly get some planking that we can go across to make bridges over these water crossings for that. So we hauled those down.
How many did you have?
How many poles did we haul down?
Roughly.
We hauled down about 7 or 8 poles down there. They were about 16-foot poles. Yeah, so I used my trailer and we hauled them down, and they unloaded them down there. I don't know if they're going to get to that this year or if that's something they're just kind of prepping materials for next fall possibly. I'm not sure exactly on that, but.
Right.
And then also I have a meeting next week, I believe it is, with Joan Richardson on the hoop house. It does look like we did receive that grant to get the hoop house.
Yeah.
So I need to get more have the meeting with her, get more details, to come back to the commissioners, to get the final approval of getting this hoop house.
Do you have any paperwork on the grant?
Nothing yet, that's why I have the meeting coming up next week.
Okay, because we have a grant committee that needs to look at it.
Okay,
Um,
who,
And come, Melissa, Ed.
Priscilla Colbath.
Who?
Priscilla Colbath. I said
Okay.
last week, she said she wanted to be on
Mr. Brown, you're on it too, right?
it. And
Right.
Yeah.
Mr. Brown.
So if you get it to us, or Melissa or Ed, I'm not sure who the chairman is if they decided, but they sort of review the grants and come with a recommendation to us.
okay, is there any county employees that are on that committee that
No.
way department heads could have a person maybe to shuffle that kind of stuff too, that could get it to the rest of the
I
committee?
think bring it into Cheryl, and
Okay,
she'll see that it gets to the right place.
okay,
And Willie, let's make sure that it's not time sensitive and we lose
Yeah,
out because we've got to pass it around to a bunch of people, so
Right.
keep an eye on it.
okay, yep, I'm gonna meet with
it's gonna
her.
be too late to do anything with it this year though, right?
I believe so. What we were trying to do is at least get it erected this year.
Yeah.
And then Olivia, I know, wanted to start doing some classes with it, possibly this fall. And then, depending on how we have it set up, mostly what her and I were kind of thinking is more of a season extension. So we'd plant it in early in the spring and be able to still harvest things later in the fall.
Yeah.
Not a thing that we would necessarily heat all winter long. That's not really what we were shooting for.
Right.
So, not that we couldn't do that in the future, but that wasn't our first goal. First goal was mostly just the season extension. So for this year, it'd probably be too late, but have it prepped and ready to go, and she can start giving classes and get things rolling for next spring.
Okay.
And that's pretty much all I had for the commissioners. I don't know if the commissioners had any questions of me.
Any questions by the commissioners?
Only that Wendy contacted me about the repair job up on the hill. And she asked that we go to Robin Gordon and see how much legal authority we have to tell these people that if you don't do it right, we're gonna do it and send you the bill. I spoke to Robin yesterday and asked her to call Wendy, and I hope she does it.
Have you looked at the site? Have
Not-
they done anything yet?
They were up there. We haven't gone up. Wayne went up. I think he went up last week. I was planning as soon as we got out of this meeting, actually, that we were going to go up and take a look and see how things are coming. They weren't, at that point, they weren't working our property yet. They were working further up on the other property.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they have down on ours. We were going to take a drive up there this morning, was our plan.
I had 2 calls from a woman who is with that group that's repairing
Mhm.
damage. The first one was that a dump truck was parked in the right-of-way, so they couldn't get their vehicles through the right-of-way. I told them to call the sheriff. The second call was they couldn't find 10-20-20 fertilizer, and I said, look for 5-10-10 and double it. And that's all I've heard from them.
Oh, okay.
So I would assume, because they were calling me, that they were gonna be working on our property.
Right.
At the same time, they're repairing the damage to the other property,
Okay.
so.
Yeah. We'll take a
Take a
ride up
look
there this
up,
morning.
see
Yeah, you better get that, you better get a current look-see on that and see what's going on.
Okay.
Okay. No questions of Will?
No, thank you.
Good, thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Yep.
See, I was gonna be here at 9 o'clock, 10 minutes. Okay, an item before,
Would you want to take this up?
Yes, go ahead, that's your letter, so.
Well, I made 3 copies, so.
They did, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
You have a copy of the number,
Yep.
go ahead.
Well, what I'm suggesting is that we write to Chairman Umberger and tell her that from now on, any requests for assistance from the business office comes through the Board of Commissioners. The final straw for me was the meeting we had here that was here on compensation. Gwinnett works 9, 10, 11 hours a day, and the request for all the information they wanted was HR work, and it became obvious that she shouldn't have to do all of this, and that we ought to have some say. The delegation shouldn't be able to issue an order for our staff to do the work. Would you like me to read this for the public, or?
I think you should probably.
I have a question.
Okay.
So, I just don't understand what you're saying. Did Umberger file the request? Was a request done by her?
No, it was a request done by members of the delegation regarding compensation, I believe, is what we're talking about.
Oh, at the meeting, oh, okay.
They wanted her
I
to
thought-
gather what the going rate was around the county for such and jobs, public jobs, an awful lot of work. And that I think that since the staff belongs to us, that we really ought to be the one saying whether we're going to do it this week or not. Dear Representative Umberger, because of the incredible increase in our office staff's workload, the board respectfully asks you to inform the delegation members that until further notice, any requests they may have for the business office should be directed to the Board of Commissioners. The staff workload has increased primarily because of an exponential increase in 91A requests. In recent weeks alone, these are a few of the time-consuming requests we have received. Number one, copies for 2,300 W-2 forms. In order to make the materials available, all forms would have had to have Social Security numbers and health insurance info redacted. This request was not filled when the requester, Mrs. Kenney, did not want to shell out $1,150 for the copies.
Okay, can I answer that? Because I request information and I don't get the information, so I'm putting in now 91A requests so I can get the information, and I ask to inspect it. Everyone has the right to come here between business hours and inspect any records. You don't need a copy or you don't have to copy it. That is what I asked, to inspect it.
Okay.
Okay,
Go ahead.
number two.
And
The above number was reduced to 460 copies, and the requester made it in and viewed the material. Because of the sensitive nature, an observer was needed. Number three, 5 years of non-public minutes. This project took several full days and was done by the commissioners. Number four, all expenditures and deposits for the Doobie Fund at Mountain View Community. Gathering material still underway, Asha Kenney request. All expenses and deposits for the Bean Fund at Mountain View Community. Gathering material still underway, Asha Kenney request.
can I answer that?
Yeah,
I just simply asked to see the statements. That is all they need to show me. The Doobie Bank statements and the Bean Trust Fund statement, that's all. So
Okay.
I don't know how long it takes. Must be ready available, statements, everything must be there. Here it is. I've been asking for years of it. I'm denied. I'm doing it now on the 91A, and I like to see it.
okay. 6,
All bank statements on all accounts for the past 5 years, Asha Kenney request.
Yes, because every time I hear it, it's in different account, but I didn't know. I hear last, the county has a citizen's bank account. I didn't even know about it. So I
Chairman?
want to see what kind of accounts we
Go ahead.
have here.
Mr. Chairman, do you suppose there's a slight chance that I could finish this before
Yes,
she
go ahead.
interrupts?
Yes?
go ahead.
And then I gave her a copy so she
We're
could
not
make
looking for
notes.
reasons for doing this, it's just a case that it is taking.
Okay, that was
time
bank
consuming.
statements. All
Go ahead.
trust funds the county has ever opened or closed, Asha Kenney request. Many requests from Reporter Siemens, but they are far more reasonable and the material is readily available. While we're trying to fill these requests, the financial audit is going on and it's taking many hours to gather all this information requested by the accounting firm. Thank you for your attention to this situation, Commissioner Babson, Commissioner Sorensen.
Commissioner
And we can add Commissioner Kenney if she.
Kenny, would
if
you
think
want
she'd
to
go along
add
with
your
it.
name to that?
No, because certain things, what I just mentioned, my answer, that I simply want to come in to inspect it, like anyone else, anyone can come in and
We
inspect
realize
during
that.
business hours, any record, and the person can decide if they want to have a copy or not.
That's true. The point is that, as I said for the last 2 weeks, that it would be nice if we could reduce the request to our staff because they've got the audit to do, and that is creating a lot of time, very time-consuming, and that needs to be done because we're paying big dollars for it. So as soon as that can be done, then we can venture into other items that are being requested.
Yeah, can I comment on that?
Sure.
Anyone who put in a request, and you get 5 business days to gather the information, and if you cannot gather the information, you're missing 5 business days, you can always ask for an extension.
Yeah.
Usually, I know other places give a 30-day extension, what is reasonable. So if they say I can have it ready in 2 weeks or 3, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, that is fine.
Okay, have you received an extension request?
No, they gave me nothing, they just didn't answer it. So last Wednesday, I gave it back to them, and I printed it out and gave it back to them.
Say that again now, what
They
happened?
didn't answer my request, so I gave it back to them last Wednesday.
Commissioner Babson?
I personally sent Mrs. Kenney a request.
An email.
An email for an extension on one of these requests. Also here, the lovely lady from Deerfield, the former representative, Mrs. Katie, some of these requests are dual requests of Commissioner Kenney and Mrs.
You have not received an email from Commissioner
No,
Babson?
I didn't receive any email, but if he said we have dual requests, so if the request is already made to one person, then it's easy. You just have to show me what you give one person.
That hasn't been,
So-
well, my knowledge, it hasn't been done. But I was sitting at my desk when he made the email to you. You should have received it, and basically.
And when did you send it?
It was asking for an extension.
And is it from the commissioner's
Do you have a
email?
copy of that?
The commissioner,
yeah,
if it is from the
probably.
commissioner's email, it would probably would be there, and I can check it out after the meeting.
Okay, you should have got that last Wednesday.
No, I didn't get anything.
Okay.
I will open another email address to see,
Do you,
don't do Yahoo anymore.
Want to make a motion, we send this letter or not?
well, do we need to go through all of those, or just request that the delegation respect the workload that is out of the commissioner's office? And that this compensation committee is not a top priority as compared to getting the audits done, because we're paying for that. I don't know, I tend to think we don't need to list all those items, just a quick email to her and say that we would respectfully request that.
Sorry.
How about we eliminate from second paragraph, in recent weeks, and that'll take out there through number 8 and leave
Yeah.
while we are trying to fill these requests for financial audit.
Yes, I would second that.
Okay, we'll make the motion.
You made the motion?
No, you make it.
Okay, so what did he say? What did,
We're gonna take out all that.
from number 1 to 8, you mean?
Yep. I'll make a motion that we send the letter with that.
I'll second.
Yes, for discussion.
Yep.
So this is only for the delegation because they ask certain information. Is that right?
Right.
That is only for them, it is not for everyone else. So-
It's addressed to Representative Umberger.
That is just because the information you want for the compensations committee. That is what we just only answering, because I don't want to have any confusion, because you said now everything needs to be directed to the Board of Commissioners to request. Because we change it now that all the 91A requests going to Cheryl,
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah?
So that is just her answer for the compensation committee. I just want to have.
Well, for anything else that the delegation comes
Oh.
up with.
All the requests from the delegation. Okay, it's just for them.
Any further discussion?
Yes, go ahead. I thought it was fairly clear, Commissioner. The board respectfully asks you to inform the delegation members that until further notice, any requests they might have to the business office should be directed to the Board of Commissioners.
Yep,
Okay. You agree with that?
yep, that's fine.
Would you put your name to it?
Yes, we're taking those out,
Yep.
and it is only
Yep.
we answering. Okay,
So
that's
you
fine.
you would sign it also?
Yeah, I will sign.
Okay. All those in support of the motion say aye.
Aye.
And
How
so,
did the commissioner vote?
I just say aye.
she said aye, okay. We'll add your name to the bottom. Okay. Howie's not here. Huh. Okay. Commissioner Kenney, we have an expense account, and I have a question on this from what I have heard from other people. The only question I would have, and this is, we normally don't do this, but it's been brought to my attention that
Mhm.
you went to a conference at Whitefield
I
on the
think it was last month.
22nd of May.
Yes, correct.
Could you give a report on that meeting?
I don't have any notes. I went there, I did one session, I was going to do a second session, but I have a couple of private conversations with people there from different towns and counties. They were telling me that actually the best session was Wednesday, what I missed, because they were talking about financial fraud and audits, that kind of stuff, something that we really needed. This annual conference, what they have, I believe it is every year. I didn't go last year. And so I decided to go this year. I actually signed up for Wednesday because I wanted to have all the sessions. And then the meeting was changed again. So then I went Thursday again.
Okay. Commissioner Babson?
Yeah, Commissioner Kenney said that she attended one session. Was that in the morning, and what was it about, and what was the content?
It was in the afternoon, and it was Mayor, I believe it was a police chief, was talking about certain things, what happening, what went on in Boston.
Go ahead.
Commissioner Kenney, I don't believe that was a session. I believe that was the keynote speaker at noontime. What did you do in the morning, and what sessions did you go to in the afternoon?
I don't think you have the authority to question me precisely what session there. I was there, I attended there. And there were two sessions, and like I told you, I talked with different people. Can you tell me what you're doing every month at the New Hampshire Association of Counties?
What was the question?
What are you doing every month at the New Hampshire Association of Counties? Merely there
We're
was,
not talking about that. We're talking about a
merely
trip
there
you
was
took.
something put in, if you travel out of the state, that the commissioners are going to report. Do you want to change that now?
No, I think any meetings we do
Oh,
go to, we
then-
need to give a report as to what took place. Commissioner Babson goes to the Extension Council meeting, he reports on that. So it's just a case of reporting so that we all become knowledgeable about any subject that may have come up
They
that,
had good subjects on Wednesday. They were excellent sessions that we really needed as the commissioners. Why did the two commissioners
But you
didn't
didn't
attend
go.
You didn't
that?
go.
but you didn't go.
I signed up, but then you changed the meeting again, like I told you.
That's not,
You said
No.
there was not going to be a meeting on Wednesday, you canceled that. And then later you decided we're having a meeting again on Wednesday. It was canceled, there was so much confusion. people would call me, is it a meeting, is it no meeting? And I signed up to go to certain sessions, and then you say, no, we have a meeting again, so I had to cancel again, then I went
Okay.
Thursday.
Commissioner Babson?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's perfectly obvious that Commissioner Kenney didn't attend anything in the morning. She already admitted the session she went to was the lunchtime keynote speaker who spoke during lunchtime. And she left right afterwards after talking to the people at the young ladies at the counter.
Which
I
lady,
personally,
which lady at the
Wait a minute,
counter?
let him
I
finish.
don't know what
Go
you're
ahead.
talking
Go ahead.
is she out of gas yet?
No, go
No.
ahead.
Well, if you're not, go ahead and speak some more, Commissioner.
No, because you said you wanted to speak, so speak.
Yes, I'd like to, and
Go
I
ahead.
had the floor.
Commissioner Babson, go ahead.
And I don't know about paying $101 to drive up there and eat lunch. There's a lot closer places than that in the area to have lunch. I think it does indicate that we need to have some kind of a policy here that says if we're gonna pay for you to go to a conference somewhere, you being anybody, not Mrs. Kenney, and that you have to attend, at least attend something at the convention rather than pay for, just go for a long lunch.
I don't think it
Okay,
was,
you got the
I don't
floor.
think it was a long lunch, she exaggerated. I went there as a commissioner, both of the commissioners didn't go, and there were several sessions. Wednesday was a better day, but canceled the meeting, we had a meeting.
We understand
And I
that.
went what was there on
We
Thursday.
understand.
We're talking about the day you went, Commissioner Kennedy, not some other day. You got there for lunch, you ate lunch, you got up in the middle of the keynote speaker and went downstairs and talked to the girls at the desk, and after that, you left. Why are we paying you $101?
And who said that that is correct? Who said that?
I'm not gonna tell you who told me.
Yeah,
It
well,
was
that,
reported to us.
Oh,
that
well.
Reported
this
to
took
us.
place.
well, that is incorrect. And
No,
who
it is not
reported?
incorrect.
Okay,
And who reported that?
all right.
Okay?
Howie, please.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good
Good
morning.
morning.
I have a few things to update you on, including your request for an updated policy on admissions. I'll give you one. And I can pass these down. What we've done, we've met, and we think we've made the changes needed that'll improve things considerably. It's been about a year since we looked at the policy, so what we really changed was item number 5, about application for admission. And the significant thing that we've done there is to eliminate reference to a wait list and only allow people to apply if they're ready to come in. It sounds like a simple matter, but it should expedite a lot of things. So we're pretty comfortable that will solve a great deal of our problem. Now, as part of our follow-through with this, we'll be going back to everybody who's on our present wait list to let them know this. And to find out, if you're ready to come in, we want to know about it. If you're just thinking about it for the future, call us when you are ready.
And if you want to be taken off the list,
Exactly.
inform you, okay.
We rather suspect there are some people who will never be coming in. We know we have some people that probably, given the length of the list, going back to 2008, might very well have passed away. So we're going to confirm. Also, we're going to use it to update information.
Yeah.
But this should reduce it down to a manageable level.
Let me,
Sure, go ahead.
I think it's the right direction to go. I think it ought to be based on the need of individuals. And I tend to agree with what you've come up with. Go ahead, Commissioner Babson.
I do too. I think it's an improvement. I would like to get a sense of the board. I'd like something in here that says something to the effect that if all things being equal, Carroll County resident that's applying, that's lived here the longest, gets in.
That lives here the longest?
Has been here the longest.
So you would decline anybody that's been here for 2 years versus somebody that's been here for 10? You take the 10-year person?
Well, I said if everything else was equal, if they had, or maybe that's too close a call, I don't know. But I'm somehow hung up on the fact that if you pay your taxes here for 40 years, that you ought to get some kind of priority. I don't care what it is, but.
It's a tough call to make, whoever has to make it. I'm assuming the social workers gather all the information, and then what do they do with it? Do they make the decision? Do they come to you, or do they come to a committee? Or how is the decision made?
It's largely in social service. There is a medical review that's with the director of nursing, with Becky, to
Yeah.
be sure somebody's qualified.
Okay.
80% of the decision ends up becoming based on really item number 6, urgency. So it's a matter of, once we know these are the people that need it, who needs it right now in terms of who would be the next person? But it also ends up getting balanced against what that person's needs are, whether they need downstairs, upstairs, whether it's skilled. So it's a number of different considerations that go into the mix. And right now, we do weigh heavily on Carroll County applicants, but we don't have any provision for giving additional benefit for length of tenure in Carroll County. But that would be your call.
Well, it's certainly improvement, Howie.
It's
You know,
moving
If you don't put it
along.
in, I could accept that, but this is much better than what we had.
Yeah, yeah.
And we're not gonna have people screaming about, well, I was first on the list a year ago and I'm still there.
You know, it made sense, and the reason it came about, back when there were empty beds, it made sense. You wanted to keep people on the list, but that's been 3 years,
Yeah.
so we've moved beyond that. So this'll make life easier all around.
Okay.
Other things that I can update you on, we now have a census of 96. What ends up being a challenge is, well,
How
we've
many?
also,
96?
96, we lost 2 residents over the weekend.
Huh?
And so it seems like it's hard, as soon as we get up there, we lose residents, and that makes it a challenge, but there's no shortage of applicants, so we're not worried about our overall census looking forward. But it's not just a matter of calling and say, come in this afternoon. So every new applicant, we have these 2 openings from the weekend. There's about 3 days with each between lining people up and getting people in. So we're trending well. The last week, there was also a request to pull dead bushes, and thanks to Bob and his crew, that's been done, and the variegated hosta has been put in. And that's gonna be followed quickly by tomorrow with Home Depot coming in. They dropped off some things last night. Apparently, there could be somebody coming in to Rototill today, and tomorrow morning, they show up with their whole group to transform the flagpole area into a mini Veterans Park.
Okay.
Breakfast, the community breakfast is tomorrow. So commissioners are, of course, invited, to that if you happen to be around or about in the neighborhood. So that starts at 7. Something else that we have going on is, as part of our Garden Way, which is kind of a different approach to long-term care that we're experimenting with in One Mountain, in Green Mountain. That group has decided that we're going to try to experiment by bringing one of the wheelchair gliders, kind of a swing, from the old building, and put it into one of the courtyards as an experiment. And they realize that the size of the glider, they just feel that it'd be a right thing to try. And given that we own it, we've inspected it, it's in good shape. It's going to take a little bit, it's not just a matter of moving it, because we'll probably need to pour a concrete pad or block. I think pad would be better to move it, but that's something that we're going to be trying to do. Assuming when we have the meeting tomorrow, everybody still feels the same, that seems to be a direction that we'll be.
Where is it gonna go?
Into one of the courtyards. In this case, it'd be the western courtyard.
Okay. Go ahead, Commissioner.
I'm not a nursing home administrator, but I would think we'd be a lot better off with ground underneath that swing set rather than a cement pad.
Well, it's on a pad now.
They go tumbling out of that thing, it's gonna hurt a lot more on
Well,
the cement than it-
nobody, well, think of a glider.
strap
not-
'em in, or
Not a
with-
swing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so this is, in fact, it would be conceivable for it to be done on patio block, but the regular weight and the need to roll people on and off and the tolerances, a pad makes more sense. It doesn't have to be a structural pad, so it doesn't have to be 4 inches thick, but it's something that we should be able to pour by hand.
If you look at several playgrounds, they've gone to some kind of a mulch type system.
Rubbery mulch.
Yeah, it could be wood chips, or, well, I don't know what they use, but it seems like they don't have concrete pads, but they do have some kind of a mulch, so that softens the blow should they fall.
Well, nobody's ever fallen out of this, So no one, you can't fall out of this. You're sitting in a wheelchair on a glider. We're not talking about a kid swing going up and down and dragging your feet. So this is a very calming.
They're in the wheelchair on it?
Exactly, which is part of why they want to keep it so close to the, to the resident area, so that it'll actually see use. It's a remarkable device, and apparently.
Make sure there was a speedometer on it, so they won't get cranked up and drive it off.
No,
I mean, nobody gets hurt on this thing.
nobody gets hurt on that.
Okay.
No,
You
that.
know your business, I don't.
No, that part I can assure you on, but we do have another experiment going on that's gonna be very interesting and very unique, and it should be ready, as early as maybe this week, maybe next week. But we received a donation of a golf cart, thanks to a donation, a trust fund distribution from the Bald Peak Colony Trust. Thanks to another donation from the husband of a resident, we have a trailer for the golf cart, with the intention being it's being modified by both Russ and with Bob and his crew to make it safe to be able to transport somebody in a power chair or a wheelchair. And that's something that doesn't happen anywhere else. And it's a little tricky, because the safety issues there are a little bit more complicated, because you have to be careful where you actually take it. But it could be something that could be unique and wonderful. The golf cart already has proven itself to be a real smile maker in terms of getting a good day and getting people out. But soon we hope to have something that'll be a little bit more, we'll be breaking the mold. This will be setting the standard. So this could be something that could be very exciting coming up.
Will it take more than one person on that trailer, or is it the small one that I always see parked on the side out here?
It's similar to that, but it's being modified for this purpose with decking and sitting rails and all this. It has to be safe, not just for the person on the trailer, but for the person accompanying the person in the wheelchair. But I'll defer to Bob, but I'm assuming that it's only for one.
As long as there aren't any long leg extensions, it could fit two.
Wow.
But it's basically a one-seater.
How is our liability covered on that? Do we have to inform our insurance company that we're doing that kind of a thing?
No, because we're doing this.
Probably just did. They probably just did.
Oh, no, in terms of risk management, we're gonna be safer we won't do it if it posed any unreasonable risk. And that's why we're going to great pains to be sure that it's not something we're just gonna, we're not throwing on and tying down the clothesline and hoping something works. This actually needs to be safe, but liability-wise, we're doing everything proper in terms of risk management. In terms of, actually our greatest risk end up not being doing supervised special activity. That isn't where your biggest risk is with any activity. It tends to be in the routine, unsupervised activity. It's the things you do every day that you don't pay much attention to, where the slips, falls, and accidents happen. When you're doing something special, case in point, one of the safest activities that any of us could do is skydiving. There's inherent risk, gravity being gravity, but because it's so tightly monitored, managed, and all, in terms of number of times, it's a highly managed risk, and so it's relatively safe. That's the same with this. We're not going to take this. Putting somebody on this trailer is nothing we're ever going to do innocently. It's going to be trained personnel, but it's going to be very important for the residents to get out. That maybe it's been years since they've been in a wheelchair, that they've been able to get out in the open air for a ride just around the building. So it could be very significant. But it'll be safe.
I think it's great that we are doing something to get the residents outside. I know in a wheelchair that a supervisor can move them around the complex on the paved roads. With the trailer, it might be able to get out a little bit further because of time constraints and so forth. So
Exactly.
I think it's great that we're having to do this. I'm just questioning the liability of if something should happen.
We'll practice on staff first, but I don't know. There's nothing about this that'll be, as long as we manage the risk by being sure all the safety, the tie downs, the seating and support, and the operation is well supervised. It's the last thing that any of us need is for something that could be good to turn into something that's awful, so we will be careful.
Okay.
Couple of things. How have you got anything planned for gardens out on the old nursing home side? You know, you get the lovely grass patch out there, you've got a few high-rise gardens, nothing in them. Are there gonna be things there for the residents?
There is.
You got the nice little road that they can take the wheelchair on and go out and pick the bugs off if they want.
Well, of course, our original plan took a sudden turn just these past few weeks with the illness and subsequent death of Harrison Moore, who passed away Friday night.
Did he really?
And Gunny, as I call him, Gunny Moore really supervised that
He
whole
passed
backup
away?
last Friday night.
Oh.
And he's been ill for the last few weeks, but he's actually headed up that garden effort. So now we need to renew our efforts, and I spoke with family last night. We want to dedicate that garden area to his memory, but we also have the opportunity of all the plant material at the old nursing home that we want to start bringing over, because we don't know what could happen with renovation. Another plan that we have that have kind of held in abeyance until we actually start with the Mount Washington Valley room improvements is we've talked at some length about how desirable it would be right in front of those raised gardens on the old nursing home side to have about a 20 by 40 foot patio space that someday could possibly be even turned into a pavilion. We have some preliminary pricing for what that concrete pad would be, but that would give people a place to get out in a level place for wheelchairs to be able to enjoy the space, to actually enjoy the gardens, and give us more reason than ever to make sure those gardens are a showplace. I would love to see that garden enjoy the same kind of, support that the older garden did, because that is by any measure a very special place. Would love to see it, take over the pergola, the shell, to be able to create a nice garden-like place, but also to have a patio space, one that we could cover with a tent temporarily, ideally with a hard roof at some point, where we could have cookouts, because we do need to get residents outside more.
Mhm.
And we have all this great views out there. Even today, even at our meeting, people are commenting our Canadian geese. Apparently, we have our first set of hatchlings, and residents love getting out, just watching. I don't know why the geese occupy the field, but we have.
We found out this morning.
Yeah,
I guess it's safe. I guess.
No, they eat the peppers.
they ate the peppers.
They eat the peppers. Oh, so they have a meal in a bit. I mean, that's. And I suppose it gives them a chance to protect their hatchlings because they could see any threat coming at them.
Do we have a volunteer committee that works on these kinds of things for residents, other than the recreation department?
We do now.
You do now?
We do now. We took, within the existing budget.
I mean, not just employees, but people outside in the community that would volunteer to do certain.
Well, and we do now, and this is how it happened. We took 8 hours a week from the existing activity budget to fund the position of volunteer coordinator, because it wasn't going to happen by itself. So we've hired, or will be hiring, John Babson, who's also a volunteer chaplain, to take this role, because I call it the care and feeding of volunteers. It's important. It's because we need to have someone to coordinate a garden committee. Yesterday I met with a woman who'll be coming in with pet therapy. We need to have different people coming in and doing different kind of roles. And there's people out there, and we have a logical place. We're centrally located between Wilkesboro and Conway. People love helping the county home, but we need to reach out to them more than we are. And so but John has actually already started in that position, and he's not officially on the payroll, but he has been as part of his chaplain's responsibility doing that. So we're going to be seeing our goal that we've set up for John is that within 6 months that we would be having 40 hours of volunteer hours a week. In fact, we kind of set that up as a goal, because paying for the position only makes sense if we actually generate volunteer hours. And we do have quite a few volunteers. We have some visiting programs already going on. There's quite a few things going on, but it would be wonderful to have a garden committee.
Yeah. I would suggest that you talk with people from the Co-op Extension They have
They'd be
master
perfect.
gardeners that have, to have projects to fulfill their obligation. I know we've had a master gardener prior to, I guess it was 2 years ago, that planted that. That did some planning, I'm not
Did
sure
some
what
planning.
exactly they. what they did.
Anticipating what would happen, and we also have a tremendous resource, and I know that Jason Henry has been very open to discussion about, sometimes it's the planning, but sometimes it's the labor part involved, and so we've had great cooperation from, Will and Wayne in doing all our projects, so I think as a collaboration between volunteer, House of Correction, farm, our own staff, and certainly like the Cooperative Extension Service, we should be able to be a showplace.
Go ahead.
Holly, I'm impressed with how nice the place looks outside, and I hope that you're letting Will and Jason Henry know it's Jason's troops that do the work, and it's Will that does the planning, and it really looks nice.
In fact, the last part that we did with the moving of the daylilies was actually a collaborative effort between Bob's staff, Jason's staff, and Will's staff. And everybody worked together, pitched together wonderfully. Jason gave us, 3 staff members. Bob put one of our people there. I know Wayne was bringing over equipment and loam, and it all happened really quickly, and it was a wonderful collaborative effort.
I was glad to see the women residents at our jail participating in that. I haven't seen them out very much. It's always the males that come out and do the wood, or the gardening, or the haying. But it was good to see the female inmates out.
They did a great job, and there was absolutely no issues with their being there. It worked out. There was no supervision issues, because we're using one of our maintenance staff to supervise, and there was no issues or problems at all.
The question would come up as to whether they were properly trained to supervise inmates.
Al was. We only have one maintenance staff who is, and Al apparently had received that training.
And that probably ought to be reviewed periodically and updated for the training of those supervisors. Make sure that we're doing things correctly.
Because actually, I'd like to add more people to that list,
Okay.
so that we could leave ourselves open on different days, so we're not held hostage by who's working a certain day.
Mhm.
Because I believe Rob is in the kitchen, and there might be other people in the kitchen, but we want to be sure that dining services and that we have resources in maintenance that can do that.
Any further questions on that subject? On the last page of your report, I noticed section, and this is under revision of history, you're calling it, and it's, revised to delete the reference wait list, and this is in policy, and I see that revised to delete the need for medical director approval. That's something new.
That is. In the old policy, it actually is, the law, the RSA does not require it. We were putting impositions on ourselves. The problem there is, we have somebody who wants to come in, and we can't get hold of the medical director. The RSA only requires that be medical review, which is by the director of nursing. So it doesn't mean that we won't be keeping the medical director informed, but we're not going to hold an admission hostage to a medical director approval.
Okay. So
And
that,
the reason I always include revision histories with policies, because so often we get a policy, anybody gets a policy and says, what's different about this policy from the old one? And we all think we're going to remember what we put in or took out, and none of us can ever remember what we put in or took out.
and could you explain the header and footers added?
Oh, that was just, when the policy changed from 8.1 to 8.2, it was just strictly editorial and added headers and footers. Because the other thing that happens with policies, people have them, they can't find them. So in the footer, it allows you to find where it's actually filed. As we go to more and more electronic management, the footer actually has the file name, so that any staff member, on any computer, can have access to the policy. So it's not hidden in a policy book somewhere that becomes useless or outdated.
Change the subject again. I met with Bob Murray this morning And he said we have a lot of records, medical records, years of medical records. Could we look into how that might be put on a computer to reduce the storage of those? And how many years do we keep those records? Apparently, we got a lot. And we've got, not only in the nursing home, but the county attorney in the vault has got the same problem. And she suggested that we try to hire somebody that would put those into a computer and reduce the storage space. I don't know if you've looked at it. I haven't seen how much it is, but apparently there's a lot of medical records.
We have a 7-year problem, which means if we stop keeping paper records in 7 years, we won't have a problem. So the thing that we have to balance the cost is, well, what we've been looking at, was as long as we have the available storage, and we do, that's the cheapest option because it's free. If that storage area disappears, then we have to look to either copying it digitally or arranging for other kind of storage, and at that point it might make sense, although we are, now that we're going electronic, we will work through this problem in 7 years. Ours is not, the county attorney might have to keep their records permanently, that I don't know. Our records are for 7 years, and at 7 years, then we actually, what Renee does is she takes them back in and shreds them. So we're not keeping them forever, we're only keeping them for what we have to.
So now you're doing that.
We're shredding.
And you're going to try to go back to do it
Well, each year we do.
with our present records.
Each year we take the ones that are 8 years old and shred them, but the advantage now is we're not gonna be adding new ones, because they'll be electronic.
Right.
So in 7 years, the problem disappears. If it turns out that we have to move them, we could look into contracting, but truth is, we don't ever access those records. So dead storage.
But we mine.
But when we have to keep them, but we could keep them in a storage area or a storage trailer cheaper than we could have them digitalized and copied. Given that we don't need, because we can lock them in and as long as we know where they are, but we almost never have to go back into them, so we can pack them tight. We don't need to have easy access. We're not, they can be stacked, floor to ceiling.
So are we making a improvement in getting rid of those that are over 8 years?
And we do that, Renee does that routinely, each year. She shreds. So we only have our required 7-year.
Do you have any idea how much storage that takes? 7 years worth of medical records?
They're actually stored in Sandy's old office, in the old building. And it's not exactly full, but it's the old administrator's
Yep.
office.
Oh,
And if we got, and we've taken advantage of it because we have extra space. If we got, if we were getting really critical about it, we could build rack storage and we could make it even more compact. But right now, it's been easier just to bring them in there and mark them and label them and leave them there.
okay.
But, if, as things go forward with the old building, we need to either move them other in the building, we might need to get a better way to store them, just to take up less square footage.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, anybody got any questions of Howie? No?
Nope, thank
Okay,
you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ollie.
You may want to stay for Bob Murray's.
I will do that.
Um,
I took notes on this. Did you take my sheet on each one?
I didn't touch it.
I took notes on the one bottom here before.
Good morning.
Morning.
Morning, Bob. I asked you to come because you are probably the most knowledgeable person of the old nursing home that's in this room or on the complex, as that goes. And we did put out an RFP to remove 2 wings and put a new roof on and remodel the laundry. And I did talk with you this morning about some of the issues that we have with, storage of records for one thing. You showed me a plan of the laundry, which I had not seen before. I don't know, have you seen?
Yes, I did.
You did, okay. and I missed it somewhere along the line. Could you make any comments regarding the RFP and what has been stated? I know you made one comment that if we're gonna put a roof on, what is in there is a flat roof, and I think we have all agreed that it should be a pitched roof. So that needs to be corrected, and then that's our fault.
Yeah. That's the biggest inconsistency that I found on this RFP, but if you don't mind,
Go ahead.
I'd like to just review this in its entirety,
Yep.
rewrite it,
Mhm.
give it to you for approval, and that will be the document that we submit.
Okay.
that anybody asks
The
for.
RFP, I'm not sure what the deadline is on it. 1st of July or first week in July?
Yeah, it's coming up,
Yeah.
it's coming up. But,
And have we had any inquiries about it?
oh yeah, I got a few phone calls yesterday. I responded directly to 2 inquiries.
Okay,
I have another one in my email this morning that I need to respond
Okay.
to today.
okay.
We had a couple down in the office,
We have a couple?
yeah.
I
Okay,
have a question.
go ahead.
Can you clarify with me, what is the biggest inconsistency again, what you said?
This RFP calls for the removal of the sloped roof and to go back to a flat roof. I don't believe that that's the intent of the commission.
No, it wasn't.
No.
It
Oh,
wasn't.
okay.
Yep.
I also want to know if you can add, if the people who apply for it, if you can give them maybe a tour, if they ask for it, if they want to see.
In my replies to them,
Yeah.
I don't say that a tour is mandatory, but I highly recommend a site visit.
Yep.
Yeah, if they
Yeah.
want to.
I think that anybody that doesn't come for a site visit should be disqualified. They don't know what they're getting themselves into.
Mhm. Okay, so you're going to revisit the specifications for the RFP?
The specifications for the RFP, yeah.
Okay.
I'll rewrite this. I can do this in the next, well, tomorrow's a busy day, but I can certainly work on this today, and
Okay, I appreciate that.
by the end of the week, I'll have it together.
As everybody knows, we're not engineers, we're not architects. The delegation wanted us to put the RFP out, we put it out, we based it on Bonapage and Stone's proposal that they presented to the delegation. That's what that information is about. They have agreed, or at least I have said that we would base it on their proposal, and they agreed to that. So there are some things that were left out of the proposal. One, I know the cooperative extension was part of a proposal. Your area of putting up a wall and maintenance was part of the proposal, which both those items were taken out, and just the roof, the laundry, and the wings to be taken down. Now, would you want to make a comment about your storage, that you need the wings?
I don't need the wings plural. I'm lobbying for one wing, and that's what we call a wing, and that is the first wing on the right-hand side of the building. I'm already using a half a dozen rooms in there for durable equipment storage. We have power wheelchairs, we have spare wheelchairs, regular wheelchairs. We've got a couple of power beds that are being stored over there. We've got all sorts of durable equipment that just, we won't fit in the closets that we have at the new nursing home.
Yeah.
It's just too big. So I've got space over there that's reasonably dry. Got a couple of roof leaks. I don't keep stuff under the roof leaks, but I'm lobbying for a wing. I think there is a real purpose for us to keep that wing in terms of long-term storage. It will negate me asking for storage in the future, because if you take down these wings, I'm going to be looking for storage in the future as things evolve. So I think it's just usable space. We use it daily to walk through. As you know, we have a truck for transportation of equipment and laundry, but a lot of times in good weather, we walk it. As a matter of fact, almost every day we walk laundry back and forth. So by taking that length of the building off, I'm gonna wanna add a door or and a paved driveway up to that building.
Mhm.
But if we can keep that wing and keep those rooms that I can use, it just makes.
What would happen if we didn't take out the concrete? And just take the structure down and leave the concrete as a means of getting from here to there?
You'd have to plow it.
Well, you'd have to plow it if we put in a
Mhm.
asphalt one too.
I would defer, I would bring Will and Wayne into that equation,
Okay.
because they're the ones that would be maintaining it.
Okay, I would suggest that the Board of Commissioners, after our meeting, at the end of our meeting, that we go over to the old nursing home and walk through it and see what he has for storage, and look at those areas that are in the RFP to make sure that that's what we want. Is that agreeable to the members of the board?
Yes. I have
Yes?
also,
Yes or no?
Yeah, I've been
Okay,
through it
go ahead.
last week.
I
I'll
have
go again.
also another question. So if we change now the RFP, you're going to work on it, are we going to extend it? Because he's changing it now.
No, the RFP is going out. What we're changing is the specification.
Oh, okay.
In the RFP, whoever's interested is to come in and look at the specification so that they can put in a realistic bid. And then hopefully they will look at the facility to see what has to be done.
The two responses that I've given already have been very simple. They've been 3-line responses. I've told them that this is the information that's currently available. It is subject to change, and a site visit is highly recommended.
Okay, that's good.
I want to thank you, Bob, for accepting, this is kind of put on you, but as I said earlier, you're the one that knows the most about the old nursing home. You'd be the key person to talk with regarding any remodeling or removal of wings. So I appreciate you either forced into accepting this position or
No.
not, but
No, but
it's important to have some contact that is permanently a person that is here.
No, I don't mind doing it all as long as I have the guidance and support of the commissioners.
Mhm. Okay. Go ahead.
Several things. Bob, first of all, we also have a quote out for changing the old eating area over to office space. Have you gotten any response to that locally?
No, not yet.
Was he the contact on that?
The business office, I believe, was the contact,
Yeah.
Okay.
They were supposed to send them to him.
but I haven't received any responses
Okay.
or inquiries.
My next thought was, there was some talk here, or I brought it up a couple of weeks ago, about taking 2 or 3 of those rooms and turning, or maybe a wing and turning it into transition housing for inmates getting out like they do down in Stratford County, which has been very successful. And perhaps our new superintendent would know more about it than I do, but it seems a shame that they get out of jail, they got no place to go, no money in their pocket, and chances are they'll be right back. And we've got 2 experts here, from one former and one current, that may be able to give us a little insight into that. It just seems a shame to me to tear it down if we could use it for that.
My first reaction to that is that the reason we moved, or why we built a new nursing home, is because it really wasn't acceptable for residents to continue to live in that facility. And if we're going to have inmates living in there, then we need to do some extensive renovation, and the delegation does not want to put any money into renovating. Just the comments off the top of my head. I think it would be difficult to sell that, because we did move people out of there. Any further comments?
You mentioned, yes, you
Good.
mentioned something about joining the roofs together, or where they were coming together on the project over here, if we tearing it down.
My question
Some about
was, if I can't save a wing for myself, for the county, for the nursing home, And we end up taking both of those wings. Exactly, where do we make the amputation? There are a couple of areas within, well, I'll show you when you go on your tour, within 20 feet of
We'd
each
be
other.
right
that
at
you
the
could-
nurse's station, I believe, wouldn't it?
More or less, but we need to decide that.
Mhm.
And if you only sever one wing, it's easy. If you sever two, it's a lot more complicated.
It is, I
Yes.
agree with you. Okay. You had asked me this morning about going to the delegation to support your reasons for keeping a wing. I have no problem. I don't believe the board has any problem of you going to the delegation and supporting what you think is correct. But I would say that the delegation is pretty firm in saying that the two wings would come down.
I don't need any services in that building. We need to have an active sprinkler system because it's an occupied building with laundry there.
Mhm.
But all I need is a tight roof. I don't need anything else. I don't need electricity. I don't need plumbing. Need a little bit of heat, but 55 degrees is all I need. I just need, it just needs to be tight, weather tight.
My last question would be, the containers that we have over there, are they still full of nursing home Christmas decorations?
There's a lot of stuff. So the backside of one of the storage containers has some medical records in it. A lot of them have been moved up to Sandy's old office, but I believe there still are some old ones in there.
Mhm.
There is a lot of activity decorations, seasonal decorations, Easter, Christmas, that type of thing. There's some old durable equipment that is no good. There was some junk in there that we've disposed of, so they've been cleaned out. And if I'm going to use those for anything, for example, the leftover construction equipment materials
Yeah.
from the new building,
Yeah.
they're scattered in the dining room right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
I would easily put those in one of those storage trailers.
Is that something that we're gonna use?
Could, if I need to replace a piece of carpet or something like that, or there's a lot of pieces, parts that I wouldn't want to throw away, that could be used someday. Absolutely. No, I don't want to throw it away.
Okay.
And I'd also like to move those two containers up here. Right now, they're in the mud. You can't get to them in the wintertime. Mud season, you can't
Mhm.
get to them. They do take on water, which is why I'm concerned with the medical records. It's
You
not.
mean they leak?
Well, water gets in the door. They don't leak from the roof, but they
Oh,
leak.
it comes in on
It
this
comes in
side.
on the bottom, yeah. When the ground freezes and floods. So I would like to get them up.
Well,
this
come up with a
building where we can
proposal
use
as to where they should be placed. Okay. All right, anybody got any further
Yes.
questions? Good.
I think that we should support Bob's desire to keep one wing and don't send him up to see or talk with Representative Umberger by himself. I think he ought to have either a letter in hand or something that if this board supports him, to take with him. I'll make a motion, we write a letter to Representative Umberger supporting Bob's request to keep one wing.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I have a question. So why do we have to write to Umberger, or why does he have to talk to her? It is a delegation, so the decision needs to be made by the whole delegation, not only by her, and said that she wants to keep the wing or not.
Would somebody
Well-
like to second my motion so we can discuss it?
Yeah, no.
Or second it for discussion purposes?
Okay, I'll second it with discussion purposes, but I'm not sure I support it.
Okay.
Go ahead.
That's fine. Well, as Asha said, no question, I think that it is the delegation's responsibility, but we should be going through the chairman, and she should be sending out any information, I think. Why would you oppose it, David? I mean, you wanna
I
keep
wouldn't
going?
oppose going through the chairman. I guess I would oppose, I mean, we've talked about this now for a long period of time. that, and we all agreed that we would take down 2 wings. The RFP went out, we told the delegation we agreed to take the 2 wings down. Now we're changing our mind halfway through it. We don't know what's gonna happen to the 2 wings on the other side of the building. That is still up in the air, whether former Commissioner Solomon can pull money together to do that. That's a tough job. I would question whether that is going to be feasible, which means we still have those 2 wings that at some point in time may have to come down, and maybe we could save one of those. I just can't keep going back and forth and changing our minds. I think we tried to say that we wanted to keep a wing for maintenance. The delegation discussed it. As you know, certain people wanted the square footage of all the rooms and everything that's in there. They seem to think that there's plenty of space. And we decided, I think, as a board, that we would tear down the 2 wings on this side. Now we're changing our mind. That's where I'm coming from.
I think you're only changing your mind because I'm trying to demonstrate a need for it. You had your original reasons many years ago when you decided to tear down those wings, but things have changed.
And if Mrs. Solomon's program doesn't come through, the other 2 are going down. I don't have any problem changing my mind. I'd rather pay now than pay later.
Okay, what is your motion?
My motion is we send a letter of support for Bob's request to keep 1 wing for maintenance to to Chairman Umber.
And what do you think is gonna happen with that letter? They're not gonna meet for a while. We've got a deadline on the RFP. I'm sure we can put that off if we have to. But do you think that the delegation is going to hold a meeting to say that we're going to support keeping 1 wing?
Do I think they're gonna vote for it? No.
No, I don't think so either.
But that doesn't mean we shouldn't try. They're apt to come in and want us to tear down every building out there.
I can't sit idly by and watch them tear it down.
I can't either. I never did support tearing them down.
But we did.
We did when the time came because they were gonna vote for it anyway. But
Actually,
now we've demonstrated or Bob has demonstrated a real need to keep a wing. Frankly, I didn't realize it was that critical until I talked to him the other day.
Commissioner Kenney, how do you feel about it?
I believe you talked earlier that we're going to have a tour after the meeting, so I'd like to see what he's storing and how much space he's using.
Okay. Okay, the motion is to send a letter in support of keeping 1 wing, correct?
Yes. Why don't you withdraw your second? I'll withdraw my motion. We'll go look at it, and then we can make another decision after we've seen it.
Okay, I will
And I will.
withdraw my second.
And I'll withdraw my motion, and we'll do something with it later.
Okay. Anything else we want?
Thank you for the opportunity to discuss it.
And thank you for listening. That's huge.
Okay. Anything else?
No.
No? Anybody else got any questions of Bob?
No.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Bob, I don't think it would do you any harm to get a hold of Representative Algren and start working on him regularly, because he's over here. He's the only one that seems interested. He comes over here and sees what's going on. And, I think if you're gonna get anywhere, it's gonna be with his help.
Well, with your blessing, I'd be pleased to.
Okay. Okay. Then thank you, Bob.
All right, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bob.
Call me when you come over. I'll be ready and available.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, Jason Henry,
Good morning.
good morning.
Good one.
May 3 this time.
At this time, if the rest of the members of the board feel that it's appropriate, that we would make a motion to unseal a portion of the non-public minutes of last week. The non-public meeting that we had right at the get-go at 8:30.
Do you want to review the minutes? I have them typed up.
What's that?
I have those typed up if you want to review them while you're thinking about this.
Okay.
Do we have a minute to read, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, go ahead. Sorry, hold up. This is not the one I was thinking of, though.
Oh, it's not. Okay, I would, everybody had a chance to read it?
Yeah.
Um, I would like to make a motion that we release,
Do you need to vote them first?
excuse me?
Do you need to vote them first and then release them?
Okay,
That's a good
I
point.
don't know.
Okay.
I'm just asking the question.
This here, I don't know if this is accurate though. This here?
what's not?
This here. I believe she said another number.
What is she pointing at, Mr. Chairman?
This portion of here. Yeah. Well, it's
I believe-
it's an estimate.
Yeah, but
We
I
won't know
believe she
that for
said
sure.
a different number.
I'd like to release the section underneath the big rectangle,
Okay.
all the way down to, next to the last paragraph.
So you're going to release it down to
That section
11:28
right
a.m.?
Oh, to the bottom of
So-
the next to last
So
paragraph.
you take this out? This section
Yeah, I
out?
just released this portion of it.
And take out the last paragraph?
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
I make that, well,
I'll make a motion that we approve the non-public minutes of June 4th from no other way to describe it, from the bottom of the,
Well, no, you're going to approve the whole thing.
just
and
we approve the whole
oh,
thing.
excuse me, you're right. I approve, make a motion that we approve the minutes of June 4th, the non-public minutes of June 4th.
Second session.
Thank you.
Second session.
Second session of the three.
Second section of the three.
All right, I'll second it. Any further discussion? All those in support of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Roll call?
No, roll
You
call,
don't
that's right.
have to.
Well,
don't need to
we're gonna do a
roll
roll call.
Okay, Commissioner Kenney,
Yes.
Commissioner Sorensen?
Yes.
Commissioner Babson?
Yes.
Okay, and so voted. Now, I would make a motion that we release, I don't know how to explain it, but
From the bottom
Release
of the
as
rectangle.
redacted.
from the bottom of the rectangle to the bottom paragraph.
Okay.
Leave the bottom paragraph
The
As-
bottom paragraph in.
as in.
Yeah.
And the second page, are we releasing that as well?
Yeah,
Okay, good.
okay, that would be my motion. Do I hear a second?
So,
Second.
wait, the second page you released too?
No, leave that alone.
There's only this first here,
Yeah.
what you released.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, you're not releasing the second page?
Yes, we want to,
Yeah, I think you want to release
That
that you
is-
properly sealed them and that
That-
you came out of non-public.
you want to
Correct,
put that
right?
in it, David.
There is really nothing in, so you can release.
No, there isn't anything.
There is nothing in,
You
so.
wanna put
But I think
that
you
in.
want to be on the record that you sealed them and properly adjourned from non-public, right? So you don't want to release the second.
Well, we
page.
announced that last
Didn't we
week.
say that when we went back into public session?
Yeah.
Well,
So
yeah.
you should have it, yeah.
Well, what's the privilege of the board? Do we want to release that as well?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
That's what we did.
All right. So the only one that we're not going to release is the bottom?
Is the bottom paragraph on page 1.
Okay, so we
Okay.
take that out and release.
All right, that's the
Page
motion I
second.
have. Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
And we have a roll, any further discussion on that? I have a roll call?
Commissioner Kenny?
Yes.
Commissioner Sorensen?
Yes.
Commissioner Babson?
Yep.
Okay. So voted then.
Okay, so there's no redaction on the second page. You can keep the original, and I'll bring you back on the first page with
Okay.
with the redaction.
Okay. What took place at that meeting was we had a letter of resignation from Superintendent Johnson for immediate resignation, and that it was, his reasoning was for personal reasons. We, at that point in time, said that then the second member in command would, and a motion was made to make him the acting superintendent of the House of Corrections facility. That passed. So he is the acting assistant at the present time. We also decided that there would not be any further changes, that we would review the situation after 3 months, just to review it, and then make a recommendation 6 months from now, which would come up sometime in December, to make a permanent placement. No change in wages, no change in anybody moving anywhere that they are. Where they are presently, that's where they will stay until we come up with a additional recommendation or review. Is that correct? Go ahead.
Oh, I'd make one slight, unless I misunderstood you, I thought you said acting assistant superintendent, he's acting.
Acting
Acting superintendent. I think you said something like
Yeah, no,
assistant
okay.
superintendent.
Okay, you're
acting
right,
assistant
you're right.
superintendent.
So he is the acting superintendent, okay?
Yep, fine.
All right. With that said, you're reporting now as the assistant superintendent.
No.
No.
As the superintendent, forget assistant.
Acting.
Acting superintendent.
Acting superintendent, yeah.
I'll get it straight. Okay,
Acting, interim, whatever.
interim, okay. Go ahead with your report.
Sure. Again, good morning.
Good morning.
As it stands now, current in-house population is 53. We have 4 on electronic monitoring, 6 transfers, 1 weekender, total population of 64. I'm pleased to announce, as I talked last week, 4 offenders went through the high-set GED program. As it stands now, all 4 passed the writing, reading, social studies, and essay portion of the testing. We are waiting back for the math and science scores, but all 4 of them passed those sections.
Good.
Could you repeat those?
Yep.
Writing,
Writing.
reading.
Yep, writing, reading, social studies, and it was an essay portion, and all 4 of them passed. We hope to have the math and science scores hopefully back today or tomorrow, but real soon.
Okay.
Also, the T for C class is still going well. We did lose 1 participant, so we're down to 5, but it's still going well. They've had 6 sessions so far, and it is going well and still going strong.
Okay.
And that's what I have so far.
Okay. I would also like to make a motion that Jason Henry be appointed to the Executive Committee of the New Hampshire Association of Counties, that he would be replacing Jason Johnson on that. That allows him to vote, and it needs a vote of the board to appoint him to that position. Do I-
Second it.
Second it, okay. Any further discussion?
No.
All those in support of the motion say aye.
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 Then so voted. Wynette, would you send a letter to Betsy Miller saying that the board voted to appoint Jason Henry to the executive committee? Thank you. Anything else you want to report on?
Not currently. I'm okay for now.
Okay.
Unless you guys have something.
Well, only that, I don't think these characters that we have over in the jail get enough credit for the good work they do out on the grounds. I mean, the place looks nice, and they work hard. And I don't understand why. I understand that you can take away their good time or give them their good time. I don't understand why they don't get over and above the same thing that anybody that sits in playing checkers gets. I mean,
I think we have to look at why they're in there. But I agree that when they come out, they do good work. And hopefully the programs that we have available for them is helping them
keep them out.
to stay out, correct. Okay. Any further comment?
Yes, I
Acting?
have one.
Go ahead.
I just want to say, with regret, I accept the resignation of Jason Johnson. I don't understand why someone so close to retirement is suddenly resigning.
I agree. Let me say that Jason has done an exceptional job. He was one that came up through the ranks. He filled a position well, probably better than any previous director that I'm aware of. And I'm sorry that he had to do this, but understand it's for personal reasons, and that's up to him. Okay, anybody got any further comments? If not, thank you.
No, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jason.
Wynette, do you have employee evaluation process?
Yes. And I was going to email these to you, but seeing that they were large documents, I did not want to have any issues with them being delivered through your emails. So if you could just pass those three down, and I do have a copy for you. And three to pass down.
Is it all the same, what you just passed in here?
No, one of each, please.
Oh, okay.
One of each that I
So
just-
will they have
Form A
two
and
different
Form B.
ones?
Yes.
So we have
Oh, I
three
see,
different
one is
ones.
supervisory
Right.
and one is employee, okay.
So as I had reported before at our facility administrators, our department head meetings, we have all come to a consensus and agreed on this performance evaluation. So one of the documents that you've received is the entire overview of the process. So this is kind of the whole process itself, the training for the supervisors, and then, you know, for the employees and anyone who would be writing evaluations. And actually anyone who would be receiving them, so they understand what they are being evaluated on. So all the factors are in this cover document as far as how to conduct it, as well as the factors themselves. So the supervisory, they have 11 factors that they are being evaluated on, and then the employee has some similar factors. A fewer of them are a little bit different, but you can see the factors that the employees are being evaluated on. And then the end of this document is all of the criteria for each of the factors, so that there's no misconception as to what a 1 means versus what a 5 means. So they're all outlined very clearly, and that basically, I think as everyone agrees, you know, being a 3 is fine, because if you're a 3, you come in, you do your job, and you do your job just fine, all the way up to what a 5 would be. And a 5 would be those people who, you know, every single day come in and demonstrate, you know, exceptional and above and beyond, and, you know, basically they're the ones that walk on water every single day. So we need to make sure that the employees, as well as those who are going to be evaluating, realize that being a 3 is fine. That is absolutely fine. That's where all employees should be. But this is the whole packet. And then the two other documents are the supervisory and then the employee actual document that the supervisor would use to rate and evaluate the employee. So this is the whole program. I know it's going to take you a little while to go through it, but we would like to, myself and the department heads, would like to have your approval that this be the format that we use going forward. Yes.
My immediate reaction to this is on the front page of the supervisory. I'd like to see more of a distinction between number 4 and number 5. Number 4, see, for the people that don't have it, significantly exceeds performance standards and accountabilities. Number 5 is outstanding. Performance in this category is clearly exceptional, consistently exceeds requirements. To me, the low end of outstanding is excellent, and the high end isn't really denoted here. I don't
What
think.
would you suggest?
Well, I'd have to think about it. This performance in this category clearly exceeds all expected requirements, or all something to that effect. And outstanding should be outstanding. We have a lot of excellent help, and we have some that are truly outstanding. That would be my only comment, and without reading it in its entirety.
And I think if you were to read all the criteria that is put on those factors, you would see the differences being, for example, personnel management, very effective in selecting, managing, and so forth. And then number 5 being exceptionally effective, creating, selecting, And it really outlines in those factors what the difference would be. And it's subjective, and that's the responsibility of the supervisors to be clearly being able to verbalize and in written documentation show what those differences are. But the fives in the overview document show the differences for each of those categories. So I think that it is explained within the document as well as
Okay.
on the 1 through 5.
As I said, I haven't read it yet, but.
Yeah,
I will.
yeah.
My other comment is there a way to change this from an eye test to an evaluation sheet?
And
I literally, from an eye test to an evaluation,
Tiny print.
literally, I cannot read that small print.
The tiny print.
Oh.
You can have glasses checked.
I just did, and that's what we're in.
Oh.
I can literally not read it.
I
Really?
can read it.
Well, and it will be emailed to all the department heads and all those people who will be doing evaluations, so if they want, it's a Word document, so if they want to adjust the sizes on that, they would be able to.
So, first you said it was a too large document, so now you're still going to send it? You're still going to email it?
Well, no, it will go to the department heads fine, because some of the information goes to your personal emails that we send it to, and it doesn't get opened, or it doesn't get read, or you don't receive it, or I don't know, and I didn't want it to be too big, clogging up your personal email.
How many department heads looked at this? Just numbers, don't have to tell me names. 4 or 5?
At least 4 or 5, probably, yeah.
Well, that leads me to another question, too. Is the one for supervisory, is this the one we're going to use when we evaluate you and
Yes.
Howie and?
That would be
the
for
rest?
all department heads. So a department head, anyone who is a supervisor would get that one, even
Okay.
myself and all the department heads, as well as some of the other, like at Mountain View, some of the other department heads there.
Okay.
And this is done on their anniversary,
Yes.
and it's done after their 6 months or before their 6 months is up? Or annually, a year? Is it before or after the annual?
Well, we would use them for their 6-month evaluation. If they were hired and they were on a probationary period, you would use this document, but then you would do it at a year also on every anniversary.
Okay.
And if it was a promotion, you would do the same. You would use it for, if somebody was promoted, that would be their new title, their new position. So you would use it if they had a 6-month probationary period in their new position, you would also use it for that purpose. And it's an ongoing living document, because there's goal section in there, so the department heads will have to stay up to date. It's not something that goes in the drawer and you just, take it out next year. It's something that should be an ongoing document when they attain their goals.
Just quickly skimming it, I don't see anything on here after the interview or that section. Doesn't the employee have to sign anything that?
It's there.
It is there where?
Yeah.
Last page.
On the,
I just
not
read
in
the last
that,
page, I don't see
It
it.
says
It's
they
not
do
on-
not have to accept it, but they
Where
have to.
are you reading it?
it's on the forms itself,
It's
not on the
form,
overview.
not on this.
Yeah.
That they don't have to accept the evaluation, but the purpose is that they have received the evaluation.
Okay, that's what I.
Yeah, it's just that they get the evaluation.
Why, perhaps you maybe just a simple line in there to be, under, after the interview, remember to have the employee to sign off.
I could. It's on the last page after the interview. It says reinforce with the ongoing contact, take notes on the outcome, commitments, follow up on the training at the beginning of the next discussion review. So, yeah, I could add, well, I don't think it's necessary. I think it's
Okay.
on the document itself.
Okay.
You're not my age yet. When you reach my age, maybe you'll think it's necessary.
I think you've done an excellent job in putting this together, and for once, we'll have one that will be uniform throughout the complex. Now, the sheriff department
Yep.
has their own. Do
Nope.
they follow this
There-
too?
The sheriff agreed to this also.
And the sheriff has looked at it?
Yep.
Okay.
This was a team effort. This was not just me, this was a team effort.
Okay. Is he the only one that has a separate one? That had a separate one?
Yes, House of Corrections and Mountain View, it was
They're all different,
spattered
okay.
all over the place, so
Okay.
this will be the consistent one throughout the entire county.
Okay. Very
So-
good.
So at this point, everyone agree with this concept?
Yes,
Okay.
well, all the department heads, yes.
Do I hear a motion to accept the evaluation system as presented? Performance evaluation program?
I'll make a motion that we accept the proposed personnel evaluation program.
I'll second it. Any further discussion?
No?
Seeing none, all those in support of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Then make it unanimous. Thank you very much for putting that together.
Thank you. And we will start that on July 1st.
That what?
We'll start that on July 1st.
Starts July 1st, okay. Okay.
David?
Yep.
I thought I asked one out last week or the week before. Are we going to get an update each month on who is supposed to be evaluated?
Right.
On the
Yep.
first, I guess the first meeting of the month.
And we'll have a tracking as to who's due for evaluations, who's been completed, and I can provide that to the
Good.
board.
Thank you.
Is that easily done, or is that a hardship, having to put all that together? We're talking about every single person that works for us,
Yep.
that we are going to see whether they were evaluated or not.
Be challenging. It's okay.
Okay.
Yep.
Anything else you have?
Well, if that's going to be that difficult, right? I mean, once you set up the spreadsheet with the person's name, we must have something on here that has the date of birth. And then we're going to do it, or we're going to do it from when they were.
Yeah, their
Right,
anniversary.
Birthday
Yep,
or their
yep.
first day of.
It'll be done.
When they're,
They get
right,
it.
their
Once it's
anniversary.
set
Their
up,
anniversary
yeah,
date.
it's going to take a little bit of time, but
Yep.
after that, the supervisors should have the form and be checking it off, and I
And be
don't see any
sent, and be
problem.
It's one
sent.
way of making sure that evaluations get
We
done.
don't go any more 5 or 10 years without evaluation,
Yep.
or whatever it was.
It'll be done.
Okay? Anything else?
No. I need to have Kathy and Gary just sent a note that we need to have a attorney call also today, so before you all leave. So it's a non-meeting.
Oh, for a union?
No,
No, for non,
a non-meeting with an attorney.
Non-public.
Yep.
okay. Mentioning union, do we have the union contract from the jail, from the nursing home?
We have the tentative agreement.
But we need to approve it?
I will have Tom send it up. I'm not sure where it's at, but I'll have Tom send the copy.
Yeah.
But I think he sent you all of the points that,
Yes, he did.
He sent you
We-
that,
I
and
thought
that's the-
we have to sign the contract.
Those are the
or it wouldn't be
changes.
valid.
We need to see the contract and sign it, and then we will go to the delegation
okay,
with it,
okay.
okay?
Yep.
And do you know where we stand on the jail?
No, they've just started that process of moving forward with their new.
They have a new union?
New union. Mhm.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Public input.
Yeah, let's move on to
I-
public input.
I have something
Okay.
here. I have something here, has been brought to my attention. This is from Mountain View Cafe Commissioner Babson. You went to lunch with 2 people, and you paid for them, but then you sent it to the county for reimbursement. And why would a taxpayer reimburse for people who eating free lunch here?
Well, let me tell you what happened, Commissioner. I took the two accountants over to lunch. You brought it up about about 3 months ago. And in my other life, in business, if you take someone to lunch, you pay for it. But I knew you'd bring it up, so if you'd like to wait a few minutes, I'll go down and get the receipt I have to pay the county back for the meal. Thank you for coming to my attention.
So, you're saying that he took two people out for lunch and paid for it. He's saying that he reimbursed the county.
I'm not saying,
No, no,
I'm
no.
telling you, I have a receipt downstairs paying the county back.
Okay.
Yeah, because, of course, I was looking for it. This is here a receipt. He brought two people out for lunch.
Yeah.
He paid there for it, and he came back and he gave the receipt here to the business office, and it was taken out of the county taxpayers. This is the receipt here.
What don't you understand, Commissioner? I paid the county back
He paid the county back.
for my meal. And if you wait till we get out of here, I'll show you the receipt. Now, why
Well,
don't you find something
Okay.
valuable to talk
well,
about?
it is valuable. You shouldn't even take the money out of the taxpayers. You shouldn't even get that.
From where I came
guess-
from, it was a business lunch. You used to do that by law. Then I got back here and figured you'd start causing a hassle. I hit it 100%, so I paid you back
But listen,
for all $2.11.
All right,
so listen, for all, it's
Last-
$11.63. It's not $2.
$11, all right. We're talking about $11
It doesn't
that
matter.
he spent.
No, I
That
didn't
he-
pay.
To bring two people out, and then he came back and he said the taxpayers needs to pay him. So he get reimbursed for that money.
I get
and now-
reimbursed for my meal.
You get reimbursed for, why would we
I mean, I
have to?
paid back for my meal.
He paid,
He
look,
paid back for, but why would we have to pay for these two people then?
I don't know, you figure it out.
Now, why do the taxpayer has to pay lunch for these people? I mean, if people come here to eat lunch, they need to pay for their own meal. I'm paying for my own meal if I go in. There are certain
It was the
exceptions.
first day they were
Yeah,
here,
that's
I
it.
took them around, I introduced them to Howie, I introduced them to the sheriff, I took them around, I spent about an hour and a half with them or longer introducing them while you were home doing something else, and I figured it was a polite thing to do when I got over there was to buy their lunch. If you'd like, I'll pay them back.
Well, if you want to buy them lunch, you need to pay from your own money.
Okay, thanks.
But now you did
All right.
pay it from your own money, but
All
you
right.
brought a receipt here to the county to get reimbursed.
this is the end of the conversation regarding that.
One question?
Anything else we need to bring up? Yes.
Commissioner Kenney was going to give us Mr. Goot's evaluation sheet. You asked her for it last week. Has she done it yet?
Have you
Like I
completed
told, yes,
HR
I,
evaluation?
like I told her, it was downstairs. I have another one here, what I can give to her, or let me make a copy. I have to write here.
This is, we did this back in January,
Yes, but I thought.
and now we're just getting to,
No,
You
she
finishing
want,
up her-
she want me to write some comments, but I did, and I told her it is on my desk, but I had to go back under the paperwork and get it out. And I have it here. After the meeting, I will just make a copy. Okay, so I have it right here.
all right, anything else we brought up this morning? All right, let's go into public input. Yes, Melissa?
Regarding the issue of the HR administrator's evaluation, why would Commissioner Kenney need to keep a copy of that for herself?
Why does she?
Isn't that a personnel item? Should there be copies of personnel file items out and about?
If there's an evaluation form that I filled in, I can have a copy, yes.
Why?
I can keep a copy for my record.
I
Could I
tend to think that
question
she's probably right, that if she made the evaluation, she could keep
I
a
just wrote
copy,
it.
but her copy should go into the personnel file.
She has a copy and I have a
Could
copy.
I possibly ask for clarification from the HR director, since it falls under HR law, or employment law?
Lynette, you want to get involved in this?
Not really.
Okay.
But it's a
Okay.
it's a personnel document, and it
Right.
should be in my file, and there should not be additional copies out there, but it's not worth.
I don't know the answer to that. I guess we can try to find out what other counties do.
personnel files are non-public, correct?
True.
They're not, they're closed, completely shut, sealed,
I agree with that,
so
but where she made the
I
evaluation,
wrote it.
that, if, excuse me, since he's in the room, for example, if the interim superintendent writes an evaluation of the corrections officers, he doesn't get to keep a copy and take one home.
let us do a little
Or
bit of research.
I would hope that he wouldn't. It seems a bit unethical to do that.
There's no reason to keep it, to be honest with you. It's
Or
in your
share it,
file.
or-
If something comes up that is a problem, then the board can vote to look at her file. So it's a moot point.
But not make copies
Not
of it.
we don't need to have copies of it, to
Okay.
keep copies of it. And there's no real purpose of it because nothing can be done with it unless the full board votes on it.
Okay.
But we'll
I know.
see if we can follow up and find out what the answer is to it. Damon, you had a question?
Yeah, at some point you said the Veterans Project at the old nursing home might not be feasible.
That the what?
The Veterans Project at the old nursing home might not be feasible.
No, I don't want to say that. You're saying that I said it?
That's my understanding of what you
I'd
said.
rather correct that and say, should that not happen, then we would have to deal with that, those two wings.
But do you think the Dorothy's running around Conway saying that the building was, the problem with the building was it was too small and a couple issues might be correctable and it would be a fine building for veterans with some work.
Yep.
Now, is that accurate, not accurate? She's looking for like $1 million.
I'll try to.
You want to try to answer that one? Go
I
ahead.
think, I can't put words in David's mouth, Damon, but the vote that day was 7-6 in favor of giving Dottie 18 months to come up with a full plan. Isn't that correct, David?
Yeah.
And two of the most outspoken people against the project weren't here. So you certainly have to figure unless 2 or 3 people change their votes, and we have a full delegation here voting on it, that it's going to be nip and tuck on whether it goes or not. And I think that's probably what David meant by feasible.
I don't want to say anything against the project. It's just a lot of work to be able to put that together. Dorothy's working on it, and hopefully she's successful. So I don't want to say anything negative about it. I guess that's where I stand. Does that answer your question?
I think so, but I guess in your estimations, is the building appropriate? Could it house veterans given some work? I mean, you could rehab anything, but do you think it would be feasible to rehab the building where people could live there again?
Sure.
Okay, that's what I was kind of getting at. The other thing was, I'm thoroughly confused by this lunch situation.
By the what?
Lunch situation. Is Commissioner Babson going to reimburse the $2.11 for
I already
this
did
lunch?
that.
Yeah, and then he's going to reimburse the remainder of the $11?
No.
And the county paid for the the remainder of the $11?
Yes.
They
And
were
you're paying
here
back
on-
for your own lunch? Okay.
They were here, well, he could actually put in for his own as well.
Okay.
There's nothing says that he can't. It was county business. Hopefully we've gained, or he gained some information out of the accountants that were here that would be worthwhile to the county.
And
Can
do you
I-
have this, oh, sorry, Asha. I'm sure.
Go ahead.
Can I have a quick comment?
Yeah.
So we're changing things here as the way we're going, as it suits us. So we're here as commissioner, we're not doing county business now, correct? Because after that, we're going and we're buying our own lunch. Now you said suddenly he is here on county business, he was here, so he can just have a free lunch, and the other 2 people also. So I just don't understand why you just change stuff as the way you go. What is the rule? Is everyone paying for it, or sometimes they don't pay for it? If you come here, you're doing stuff you don't pay? I know it is getting confusing the way you word it.
Commissioner Babson?
Would you try to make Asha understand that I paid for my own meal? She again said I didn't pay for my own meal. I
Yeah.
paid for my own meal. I did not pay for the 2 accountants. The taxpayers paid for it. It was a cost of doing business, developing a relationship with these people, and I didn't drive 100 miles to do it, to have a free lunch.
Do we know anything about this Whitefield trip? Did a vague conference somewhere in Whitefield for some reason, what conference was it?
It was I believe it was a Primex conference,
It's an annual.
and you can say you win.
It is an annual conference that's set up by Primex. It is actually a 2-day conference, and you can choose actually what you want to follow, what session you want to follow, Wednesday or Thursday.
It's a free conference.
The conference is free, but you
and-
have people going, I believe, what I saw, people went, or what I hear, they went on Tuesday there, and they staying 1 or 2 days in a hotel, and it's $165. I didn't go last year. I went this year, and I didn't stay in a hotel. I just went there to follow.
And what course
And
did you go
came
to in the
back.
morning, Commissioner?
Like I told you, I talked to people from other counties and towns about the Wednesday session.
No, you didn't say that. You
I
said
just told you that.
That's not what you said earlier. You said
That is
you-
what I said earlier.
No, it is not.
No, I know what I said.
All right, let's get off that.
I
Let's
know
move
what
on
I said because
something
I know
else.
you were going to ask
more.
it
All right.
because somebody already
Hold
reported
it.
to me.
Go ahead, Damon.
How close was the former superintendent, Jason Johnson, to retirement?
To what?
How
To
close?
retirement.
Retirement.
I don't, have no idea.
Because the comment was
He's going
that-
up through the ranks, so he's several years in.
Is it 20 years, is it a 20-year thing? Does anybody know?
I don't know.
Yeah,
We can find out for you.
yes,
Okay.
20 years for retirement.
20.
So he really wasn't close to retirement.
I
He
couldn't
was.
say, I don't know what
He
he
was
had
off a
before.
few years.
We don't
Okay.
know the answer, we can find out for you.
If you had 7 years and you need to be here 20, then I wouldn't think that'd be close to retirement.
No, but he
I don't
was much longer than that there. That is what he said.
Anybody else, public input? Yes, sir.
Yeah, I have a couple comments. Will was talking about the peppers getting eaten by the ducks and stuff. And I
About
know-
the geese, yeah.
Or the
Geese.
geese. I'm sorry, geese, ducks.
That's all right, go ahead.
I'm a
They both.
Midwest guy. So, there's bird netting I know available. It's real cheap that goes over the things like that. Would that be maybe something that would be more cost effective than trying to put up maybe the 4-foot fence and all the stakes and stuff? I was just wondering if that would cover it, because I know some people use it for like blueberries and stuff like that to keep birds
Yeah.
away.
Yep. Depends on the size of the garden.
Yeah, I have no idea. I just wondered if that was
That's a
maybe something we
possibility.
could do.
Yep.
And I know, we asked about looking into funds for the veterans that's housed at our nursing home
Yeah.
from the VA. Have we found anything out about that, whether or not the county can recoup some of those costs? Do we, I know Howie was, I guess, gonna look into that. I don't know if he's said anything about that.
He was going to look in to see if we could take veterans. Veterans require a certain things that we may have or we may not have. I would think with the new nursing home, we have all the requirements. But that is to accept veterans in as residents.
Oh, I thought
We
you
do
said
have
that we
veterans
do
in there
have
now.
veterans. Yeah,
But they'd be reimbursed by the Veterans Administration.
okay,
That's what it was.
all right.
That's what it was.
And then also, Howie was talking about proper training for the swing and the golf cart and handling some of the people that's there at the nursing home.
Right.
Is that someone that maybe the public, like myself, who's got experience in firefighting and over at the House of Corrections with people and in the military, that could go over there and maybe also get that training and then give volunteer hours to go over and
I would,
walk people around or something like that?
I would say that's a great idea.
Okay.
Off the top of my head, I don't, as long as you get the proper training, I would have to check with Howie to find out what's correct and what's not, but I think it'd be a great idea.
Yeah, because I didn't even know, I just started coming here and I didn't even know we could, that was even going on, so.
Yep.
I just, a thought. I was told that there's a wood shop or wood shop equipment
Right.
here at the county.
Yep.
Has there been I don't know what kind of shape or anything that's in, has it ever been thought of maybe having someone go over there and volunteer hours to run that, and maybe the public coming in, I don't know what the liability would be to the county, but come in and use that wood shop and maybe pay $2 an hour to be able to use the equipment, and so it's just sitting there? Is there any plan for that stuff to maybe sell it or donate it to a local school or a high school or anything like that?
Okay, that was originally started for inmates to learn some kind of a skill in woodworking. We had, the instructor was from Sandwich. He was in the carpentry business, had the experience. And then decided, I think, that it was too much for him. And perhaps that our younger clientele in our jail didn't fit the mold of what he was trying to do, and therefore the program kind of fell apart. You bring up an interesting point. I guess I have not thought about it as far as having somebody come in to use the equipment. The equipment should be up in top shape. It was brand-new equipment when it was purchased. It hadn't been used that much. There's a planer, there's a jigsaw, table saw. It's all pretty good stuff. In fact, there's even a vacuum system for it as well. But I guess we'd have to take a look at that to see what the possibilities would be as to having somebody from outside come in to use it. I, for one, would like to find a volunteer that would come in and be an instructor for our inmates. I don't know if there's any interest as far as the inmates are concerned, but that was the idea when we first purchased that equipment.
I would be interested in doing something like that with the inmates, but I would have to know what qualifications there are in order to be able to do something like that. As far as instructing them and stuff like that. So, if you can tell me what direction I may go in to find that stuff, do I need to talk to the interim superintendent? Is that something that would fall under Will?
You raise a lot of good questions.
Okay, so.
Make a list.
We definitely should look into it.
I guess we have to look into it. It's in Will's building, but inmates would be involved, so it comes out of the jail. So it's a combination or a team approach that would have to be worked out. Good cooperation amongst them. They've had good cooperation lately, so perhaps that could be worked out.
Okay.
If you could, I don't know if we're at the point of saying, could you put together a proposal as to what you would do or how you would do it, and what background you have, experience that you have in woodworking?
Okay.
Would that be something you could do that maybe we could work on or at least get started on?
Yeah, I'll meet with Will and the interim superintendent, see what they have to say, and then I'll try and work something up for them.
Okay, good.
And then I just have one more question. Being a former employee of the county, I'm a little concerned about what Commissioner Kenney called the inspection of the W-2 forms. Is this something that happens annually? Because I know we fill out our W-2 forms on how we want our taxes and insurance information.
Right.
The finance office gets it, and then I think the HR department gets it. And I was just wondering why would they have to be inspected by the board or the commission my W-2s, especially when it's got personal information on it.
I just want to say, if you, the 91A said that anyone can see or inspect a W-2 form. It's public information. What they can do, they can reject certain information, but it is a public record.
But I'm just wondering what the
What
purpose
purpose?
of it would be. I mean, what purpose would, how many people I'm claiming, or whether or not I get insurance through the county, be what you could ask the HR or finance department on how many people's getting benefits or
Yeah.
something, if that's what you're looking into, or taking advantage of the benefits. But why is my tax information any importance to anyone else on how I claim my taxes?
I didn't see yours, and I just inspected the few. She just opened a little folder and she said, here is a few, and I inspected that.
Let me clarify it a little bit, that the board did not get involved in it. One commissioner made that request to look at the W-2 forms.
That's perfectly
She
legal.
alone looked at those. I didn't, and I don't believe Commissioner Babson did. We had no reason to look at them. People fill those out as to how they want their taxes taken out. That's up to them, that's their personal, whatever you want to call it, that they can do themselves. I guess it's public record, and therefore anybody can look at them.
Anyone can go. You can go to different counties.
I guess
ask for
I
it.
question, why would we go through all that? What's the purpose of it?
Yeah, if that's an RSA or whatever that says that, I'd like to know what RSA, because the fact that anyone can go request my information like that, and all you're gonna do is take off a social security number or something, or my home address, and then hand it to people.
Yeah.
I'd rather that not be available to the public. I mean, I would think that the board themselves wouldn't want people to be able to get that kind of information.
If it is a public record, the board can do nothing about it. You can go to another county and ask for it, and go inspect it and look at it. It's a public record.
Well, maybe that's why we got so much fraud in our country. I don't know if it's that easy.
Wyatt, do you have any
Just take
comment on
out
that?
The only clarification I would like to make is that W-4s are what are in the personnel files as to what a person claims. The W-4 is in their file. The W-2 is the tax document that is produced by the county that shows the wages made by the employer. The wages, yes, they're public information. There is a
But there are
little-
other ways of getting the wages. We
Right.
have a list of everybody that gets a wage. We don't have to go look at W-2s to do that.
That would be correct, other than, yes, and I don't know the reason why a person would want to do that. And there is a little bit of concern that the federal laws say that they are not public information, and then Commissioner Kenney is stating that they are. So I think that maybe that would require a phone call to an attorney, and let's spend more attorney's fees, because
Now, there must-
I don't know if federally or under RSAs that is a true or not true statement. So there's more research to be done.
Okay, can I comment on that?
Can we go, wait a minute, can we go to Internal Revenue Service to get the answer for that, rather than going through an attorney?
Probably.
Can I
Okay,
comment
go
on
ahead.
that? I saw that Winnet came at a 91A workshop very late. I saw his sergeant standing there. And even that attorney Sanders mentioned the same thing. He said, anyone who asks for these forms are public records. So you went to that workshop, he mentioned that too.
Who did?
He did. And I
The
don't know-
attorney
I
was
don't know
there,
if he was-
the attorney Sanders from the 91A. He told everyone that these are public records. And if you want, if somebody comes to inspect it, he said anyone can come. And if you want, you can redact certain information. That is what he said, but even he acknowledged that.
And I'm not sure if he was actually correct, and it needs to be researched more.
Could we see if we could contact somebody with Internal Revenue Service to see if they can point us in the right direction as to whether it's legal or not legal? Just do a little bit of extra work to find out. Anybody? Go ahead, ma'am.
Priscilla Colbath, Wakefield.
Okay,
And I just wondered if you have any secured tenants for the proposed renovated nursing home?
secured tenants?
Right, has anybody committed?
No.
No. We have probation that is interested.
I just wondered how far you were gonna go with the renovation before you knew who may occupy
Okay.
the space.
Okay, the only renovation that we would do is in the laundry room. The delegation has said that there would not be any money spent on renovating. If anybody wanted to move in, that they pick up the cost of renovating. Now, not saying that if somebody wants to come in and we raise the rent enough to cover the renovations, we might be able to do that, okay?
Thank you.
Otherwise, we can't use tax dollars, according to the delegation, to renovate it, okay?
Okay, thank
I
you.
don't know if that's clear or not, but...
It is, yes.
Okay.
I understand.
Melissa, you had your hand up again.
I was wondering if the W-2 forms that Commissioner Kenney looked at, she said that she just looked at a few. Was information redacted from those?
I don't know, I don't remember. She was
I do,
just
it
sitting there,
wasn't.
It wasn't?
and she had a couple out, and she said, if you want, you can look at those. So I just look at a few there.
All I know is I did look into the conference room downstairs, and there was a stack of W-2 forms that she was going through. That's all I know about it. You know any more?
I was just gonna say, it wasn't a small, it wasn't, as she just said, a small little file.
No, it was a stack.
It was about 1/3 of the 460 people that were.
Well, I don't know how many she put. I went just through a couple of them. That's all
No,
I
you
expected.
didn't. You went
a
through a whole
couple.
bunch. I stood there and watched you.
Oh, so you
Okay.
were there? I didn't see you. Where were you? You
Oh, right in front of
you
you.
must be invisible.
All right, okay. Go ahead, Melissa.
Regarding the resignation of the jail superintendent,
Right?
do you predict that there will be any changes in policy or any investigation that will arise out of his sudden departure?
All I can say is that he resigned for personal reasons.
Is there currently any?
If he felt he needed to resign, that's perfectly okay without anything else, I think.
Is there currently any investigation ongoing into the circumstances surrounding his resignation?
All I can say is that he resigned, and it was up to him.
Okay.
It wasn't something we asked for, it's something that he sent us a letter saying he resigned for personal reasons.
Okay. If I remember correctly, when, this is also related to the House of Corrections, when officers are working, make sure I say this right, if you have a lieutenant or a sergeant and he fills in for a weekend for a lieutenant and the lieutenant makes more money, that sergeant, did I get that right? Did I get that back?
Yeah,
Lieutenant sergeant.
You're right.
I know what you're saying.
Okay, so if someone works a step up,
Yep.
then they get extra compensation for the hours they worked at that,
No,
at
we
that
passed-
higher step.
We passed a motion that doesn't take place.
I think the
Anymore, or
contract says
just for-
45 cents more per hour or something, David. But we did say that that wouldn't happen again after what had happened to the jail before.
Yeah.
So the answer is
No.
no, unless the contract, I think, Melissa, the contract says something about a maximum of 45 cents an hour. I could
You mean
be
your union
wrong.
contract?
Yeah, I could be wrong.
But these are non-union,
Then the answer is no, there's no increase.
No.
so, okay, so that, and you also said that there's no additional salary being paid to the interim superintendent?
Correct.
He's still being kept at his major salary until you decide what your next course of action is?
Next point of action is that we review after 3 months, and after 6 months, we'll make a determination as to whether he becomes the full-time superintendent, and then we will discuss what wages might be
When you hired.
decided.
When you hired him, if I remember correctly, there was actually a board, there was a it was advertised external, outside the facility, and then there was an oral board or some sort of process, and that's how he came to work for Carroll County.
Mm-hmm.
So are you saying that it might be possible that he could earn a promotion rather than it being advertised outside of here?
Is that what you're saying?
It's a possibility, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Lastly, I received an extension request for a right to know request that I had filed, and that extension was till today. Commissioner Kenney was going to provide proof that employees went to a conference and all billed for mileage, and I'm here to request
And was
that
it today?
information.
Was it today?
Yep.
Okay,
June 10.
I will send it to you after the meeting. I will send you the response.
Do you,
Do you have the information?
Do you have the
What she's
information?
asking.
I will send it today to her, yep.
you have the information?
Have the-
I will send it today to her. She said it is due today, correct?
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, okay, so after the meeting, I will send it to you.
And you have reported or sent that to
I sent it-
Representative
I
McConkey?
sent it to her, yeah, I will send it to both, because I believe he was asking the
Have
same
you
thing.
sent it?
No, I didn't
She
send
said
it
she
yet.
will send it.
But you want to?
I would
So I
like
sent
one
it to
too,
you
please.
too.
Thank you.
Yeah,
So
okay.
I just need to clarify, since I'm already here at the complex, does this response contain copies of invoices or materials from the business office? Or will this just be an email with a few sentences explaining the situation?
I will just send it to you and you will see what you got.
Send what?
Sweet.
I will send a response to her.
Okay.
Well,
She
is
wants
the
it to
So
know-
the
response,
response
she wants
is
it to know what
supposed
the
to
response
contain
is.
who, exactly what happened. I mean.
Commissioner
we can't-
Babson,
we-
I sent it to her.
I'm sorry, Commissioner Kenney, but we can't be liable for your actions on this board all the time.
because,
How are you
because, wait a
liable?
minute.
Acquiring
Whoa,
some
hold it,
information.
hold it. Because she was censored last week, she's really on her own. We, the two of us, board members, are not liable for whatever actions that she takes. That's why she was censored, okay? I think that's clear.
That was always like that, censored or not.
Well,
It was always
no.
like that, yes, that you two work and
No,
just
no.
one commission. Yes, it was always like that.
Well, that's
So
her
there's
opinion.
nothing new.
All right, we're going to cut this off, but go ahead, one more.
Yeah, I just have one more question then.
Yep.
Commissioner Kenney, you said you went to that, I don't know what it was,
I don't know what you're
conference or
talking
whatever, where they talked about where you could, that W-2s was public information and that they could dock the information and you could still view it. My question is, I heard Commissioner Babson say that there was more than just a few and that the information wasn't DACted, so, but you said you couldn't remember, so I'm asking, who might have asked that could remember? Because I would like to know if my information was DACted or not. And if it wasn't DACted, then why didn't you hand it back to them, say this, I can't look at this right now, why can't it be DACted, then I'll look at it?
I don't know if they redacted or not, but like I said, there was an attorney also, and he clarified it too, that at the 91E workshop, that all these forms are public information. Anyone who wants to come in can get the information. He said, what you also can do, you can redact certain information if you want.
I guess the
I
question
understand what you're
is, was it
saying.
redacted?
Yeah, was it redacted?
I
And
don't
if-
remember if they redacted on me, how they give it to me.
Then who should I go ask to see if
It
they
was in
did?
an envelope, and they say that is the way they give it to me.
Okay,
They
you
just took
saying
it
they,
out of
who
an
gave
envelope.
you the information so I can go ask them? Since you
Kathy
don't
Gary
remember.
gave me the information.
Kathy Gary, thank you.
Yeah,
Okay,
and if it needs to be redacted, they are the one that should be redacted. I don't redact the information.
Well, as a commissioner, if you knew it should have been done, I would think that you'd have the integrity to say, I don't need this right now. So,
Well,
was
I
out of line.
have it. That is your opinion.
okay. All right, Ed, last one.
Yeah, really quick. Was an exit interview performed? Was an exit interview performed
With,
for Superintendent Jason Johnson?
He does have that, and it has been given to him, yes.
But it hasn't
I
been
have
filled.
not had it returned yet.
my second question is, why, if the commissioners are responsible for running the county, why do they themselves have to put in a 91A request? I would think that would be something people outside the county have to do to get public records. It just seems a little strange to have to, and if
I
there's a
agree.
reason.
I agree.
That's, I wanted to hear that.
Can I comment on that? For years, I ask information, ask questions, I don't get it. So my attorney advised me, you have to put now a 91A on, and I talk also to different state agencies, and they say the only thing what you can do at this point, if you don't get the information, put in a 91A. I said, like everyone else, and I'm a commissioner there, that is absolutely what you need to do, and look if you can get the information, and if not, there will be other ways how I can get it. So I put it in the past, in 2011, I asked for certain things. In 12 and 13, I really didn't receive it. And now I do it through 91A. I have to say I did get some information now through 91A. Not all of it. Also want to make a comment. Commissioner Babson mentioned that last week after the meeting, he sent me an email, he said, for extension. I just want to say that 91A request was way before that. It was so the 5 days was already expired.
I don't,
So even if you put an email in for extension, it was, that time was over.
Commissioner Babson is saying that her 91A request was overdue, that we didn't respond in a timely manner to say what we would do regarding her request.
Because he said,
I thought when you wrote that email that that was given to us either that day or the previous week.
What I said in that email, and I sent it to Melissa, I said something to the effect, in case Mrs. Kenney doesn't get back to you, that Commissioner Sorensen and Commissioner Babson would, because of the amount of work required, would like an extension, and she wrote back and said, is that correct, Melissa?
Yes, that was regarding my 91A
Yes.
request. Yes.
okay, so I think we're talking about two different things then. I thought that you sent an email to me about my request. So you're talking about her request.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I
I
think,
thought when we were reading it, and I mean, you had a flyer here that said that I had a
Excuse
couple
me, Commissioner,
91A
reading what?
requests.
Reading
You
what?
were reading something, what you're going
Well,
to
you
send
tell
to
me what the something is, please.
Umberger. And you said I had a couple 91A requests, and then you said you emailed me for extension. I thought that you were talking about my 91A, what I put in.
I don't know, I don't have
That-
any
okay,
idea what
because
you're
I
talking
put in
about.
a 91A, but I didn't get any response in like a few
All right.
weeks. So you were talking about something else, okay?
I believe that email that you sent to Commissioner Kenney said that she could come in and look at things that she requested. Is that correct?
Now you got me confused.
I thought,
I sent one that she could come in and look at it. I believe it went out saying that as a 91A request, we would charge for copies, because at that time it had gone to 2,300 copies of W-2 forms, which isn't something that can be done in 30 seconds.
okay. Melissa, you got your this is gonna be it, okay? Ed, did we answer your question?
It's okay.
Okay, go ahead, Melissa, last time.
And this is not a question, this is rather a comment, but it's just absolutely remarkable to watch how this entire board is supposed to function as a unit, supposed to move about and accomplish the business of the county while upholding the law and the responsibilities that you have under that. What kind of dysfunction it must be, so difficult to try to accomplish anything. You've got two people over here writing RFPs, meeting with accountants, going here, going there, reporting back, to what you're doing and why you're getting paid that big mileage check. But then over here, you've got some random commissioner just flying off the handle sideways and requesting documents that have absolutely nothing to do with the work of the board.
That's why we
Thank you
censored.
for your opinion.
You're right. I mean, bring something to the, please, in the next 6 months, bring something to the table that actually promotes what needs to happen at the county. For example, you've said things about the bidding contract, the personnel contracts, the right-to-know process, so many things that you've accused the others of not putting in place that should have been done before you got here. Well, you've had 4 years to figure out how to do what should have been done before you got here. Please, in the next 6 months, bring something to the table and try to get the other two on board with you to adopt it. Leave some sort of legacy that's positive.
Thank you very much
Thank
for
you,
your
Melissa.
opinion. I just want to say, if I ask for a contract, it is the business of the county, and I don't get it for years, has anything to do with the county. I'm asking all specific things what's had to do.
And can we
with the
please stop
county,
traveling in this
like-
magic
like
time machine back
statements.
into the wonder years of long ago?
Okay.
And I don't know what your
All right, your
comment is
comments are
about.
well taken, Melissa.
Oh. No, I
We
think
will
we
be.
should.
we
Can I
will-
have a comment, last comment, because you make a comment that's traveling?
All right, go ahead.
I think we should, because the past will see us how we arrive here. So I think it is good you said it is dysfunction. Maybe you need to look at way back articles from 2000, 2001, and you will see how the different boards were functioning here. Thank you.
My last comment would be, we never had the problem up until 3 years ago. The commissioners worked fine. I know for a fact that one commissioner at the time didn't get what she wanted, but she was cooperative, understood the mission of the board, and accepted, at least she had her input into how she felt about it, and then accepted the result of how the board voted. That's where I see cooperation, team approach should work. It's to work for the benefit of the county, not to spend money, but to at least look at balancing what we think the taxpayers can afford to pay and what our employees need to make a living. That's been my philosophy all along. But anyway, that said, we're going to go into non-public to look at and see if we can review more of the non-public minutes to see if we can release some more information.
Are you meeting?
And prior,
We have 2 sets of public minutes to pass.
what's that?
We have 2 sets of public minutes to pass as well.
But you made the motion to go into non-public.
No, I haven't made a
Second.
motion
Made a
yet.
motion.
There's no
I haven't made a motion yet. Okay, you got public minutes we need to approve?
Yep.
Let's do that then.
May 28th, those were the ones that were set aside for Commissioner Kenney to bring in a typescript. Did you do that?
Yeah, I type it, I didn't bring it in. I will send it to you.
Come on.
Are you saying you're not prepared?
No, I typed it
Constantly.
and I didn't. I will send it in.
Well,
But
do
I'm-
we want to wait another week, or do we want to pass the minutes?
No, we don't want to wait another week.
I'm just.
Pass them now.
I'm
We
just
will
sending.
look at them now and make a decision.
Well,
We
you
can't
might,
continue to do this,
I will just send it in.
because we forget what happens, and then something gets left out, and then,
And which week was that?
Record.
Was it last week?
28th, May 28th. The other one is.
do you have extra copies of May 28th?
I think I got something
I don't know, May, we've got.
on my desk this morning.
No, you don't have extra copies of May
28th.
28th.
I had no problem with it when I read them last
Oh, no,
week.
it's not here, I don't
Do you
have
have
it.
them?
No, yes, I do, but I left them down on my desk.
Okay, so
It
I
is-
don't,
I
I don't
think
know
it's
if you've been
downstairs.
able to look at the April 2nd minutes, but I got Chris Sawyer's request for a correction to the record
Yeah?
after the minutes were passed, so I just appended the whole thing to the minutes, and we can
Okay.
do that for Commissioner Kenney as well.
So
We
her
just-
name was changed,
I did
and
change the name, yeah, because that's a no-brainer.
there was 2 things she requested.
Yes, she wanted
A
rephrase.
statement and a name.
Yeah, she wanted the statement to be exactly what she said, but the minutes had already been passed, and I would have had to rewrite. So I just pasted the whole, her whole request onto the back of the
Okay,
minutes.
okay.
And we can do that with Commissioner Kenney's addendum as well, just stick it on the back.
Well, we want to see it first.
Okay,
I actually read it at a meeting.
We just don't,
That is the same
we
thing.
just don't add things to the minutes without being approved.
Without being
No,
checked.
but I read it at a meeting, correct?
Well, no, but I mean, we don't have to hold the minutes in order to get it. If it's okay, we can just paste it onto the back with a, you know.
We still need to approve the minutes, so we need to see them.
Okay, so
Yes.
do you want me to, here's my copy, which I'll need back.
Of what? 28th?
The 28th.
I read these before and I had no comments. Did you have some corrections?
I think we took care of them on the
You-
28th.
you
and
did
then
that, yeah.
I think that one has the markup on it of what.
That was, Mrs. Kenney wasn't happy with it.
I believe it's Paula Coates?
Codes.
Yes, it is, and I did correct it on my
You did?
copy, on my
Okay.
computer. I didn't reprint the draft. And there's another name in there that I think,
Received in public session. Oh, you can be. Okay, so that roll call was taken, okay.
yeah.
You want to look at those?
Yeah.
So you should probably look at the April 2nd minutes to make sure you're okay with how I did it.
I don't.
I asked,
I don't have the April 2nd.
well, Cheryl has them. Cheryl has
Right,
copies of
April
the.
2nd,
of
they're
the-
right here, Jim.
You have them?
Yeah, I just had them. I don't know what I did with them.
And
Here
if
they
you're
are.
okay
here.
with it, then she can just post them. I asked her to hold them off the website till you'd had a chance to look at the way I handled
Do you
it.
recall what was the problem with the April 2nd minute?
Yes.
Yes, Asha wasn't happy with it.
No, this is the other one. Chris Sawyer wanted her name. I thought it
Okay,
was Chris
that's the
Sawyer.
one.
Chris Sawyer
Yeah.
one, okay.
And the other thing she requested was that, requesting that my statement be entered into the minutes for accuracy. I did not say he appeared to be, I said he was acting outside the scope of his authority, because I had the proof of such. And I would have had to rewrite to put, you know.
You're adding that, that's fine. I
so-
saw that request that she made, that's
Yeah.
fine. As far as I'm concerned.
And I can rewrite if you prefer that. That's why I had Cheryl hold them.
Well, it's easier to put in precisely what you said, the statement, so you don't have to rewrite it.
Is this, you want to check this one out? I don't know if that's right or not. You said it.
So what is?
I'm wondering about that one.
Okay. I don't remember seeing anything like that.
What are you looking at?
What is,
Commissioner Babson said that he thought Commissioner Sorensen had been treated unfairly by,
which page are you?
Yeah, you said it.
okay.
Yeah, what it
If I
says?
said it, I stick by it.
I just
I-
questioned Chandler.
You're talking about April
Which-
2nd?
Okay, do you have any problems with April 2nd?
No,
No, okay.
Do I hear a motion to approve the
make a
minutes?
motion, we approve the minutes of April 2nd.
Well, April 2nd's been approved.
Right, you're just gonna, well, I'll
I'm
make
just-
a motion that we allow Michelle Hamilton to attach
Chris
Request-
Sawyer's letter.
Mrs.
Yeah.
Sawyer's
So we have a
addendum to the minutes.
I second it. All those for the motion say aye.
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 Wait a minute, hang on. Which-
So voted then.
What is my copy? What?
Oh, no, okay, I just want to make sure I get, okay. The May 28th one back, because it has my markup on it.
I don't think I have it. Did you get this?
No, I don't think you do have it.
Okay, April 2nd is done.
Okay, yeah.
What was the other one? June 4th?
May 28th.
May 28th,
May 28th.
And the corrections were made on that one.
that's the one that,
That's the one with my handwritten corrections, and you didn't vote on it because Commissioner Kenney was going to
that's right.
bring us a typescript.
Do I hear a motion to accept the minutes of May 28th?
Well, Commissioner Kenney was gonna give us some corrections here. And she has,
Yeah, well, I read it, but then she asked if I can type it, so I basically read all the corrections in.
So where are the
I
type of
I will,
corrections?
I will send it in.
Mr. Chairman, this just goes on constantly, being unprepared. Why don't we just make a motion to accept the minutes the way they are? If she can't get them typed and get them in here, it's been a week and a half or more, and it's just constant, you know, downstairs, it's here, it's there.
Can I comment on that?
Like, I bet you're gonna anyway.
Go ahead.
It was last week, was not 1.5 weeks ago. I just read my corrections into the record, but I was asked that I had to type it. So it was already there. The type up is the same thing what I said.
If I could put my comment in.
Because I
You had it all
handwrite it.
handwritten.
Yes, I handwritten it, and I read
Could have
it.
been typed up fairly quickly, have one of the secretaries downstairs type it up, and it could have been done last week in the afternoon, but anyway. Do I hear a motion to accept the May 28th minutes?
I'll make a motion, we accept the May 28th minutes.
I'll second it. Any further discussion? All those in support of approving the May 28th minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, nay.
Post.
Okay. Passes 2-1.
Okay, let's make sure I get the one with the markup on it, because those are the actual corrections that were made last week. And then we got June 4.
Okay.
And here we go. Want some corrections?
Yeah, go ahead.
Page 3, bottom paragraph.
Yep.
The newspaper saying that he was, what she said was not that I was incompetent, although that's probably what she meant. She said I was negligent and irresponsible.
Where are we? We're on the bottom of page 3.
Yeah.
Yep.
And where did you want to
Second
make?
sentence in the last paragraph. The newspaper is saying he was incompetent. What I said was, she said I was negligent and irresponsible.
So,
You
when
did the
was...
same, were you on?
No, I don't have.
Were you-
I
is that a
have-
different week here
Can I
again?
have a comment here? What letter were you talking about?
You got it, it's right there. Incompetent.
Okay.
What I said, what her quote in the paper was, I was negligent and irresponsible.
And can you tell me which letter it was? Because you
I'm
mentioned
not
something.
saying anything, you made the comment,
But
I'm
you
just
s-
correcting
you s-
it.
No, you said I sent the letter to the paper and you were only a couple weeks here. That is what you said.
Oh, yes, you wrote it,
So
that's
I
one.
wonder which letter it is. Can you tell me which
I
letter it is?
can't tell you exactly, and I'm not gonna go back looking for it, but it had to
Because-
do with, I made a motion to open up the investigation between you and Mrs. Reed, and at that time, the vote was 2-1 against me, and you in here made the comment that I was irresponsible and negligent, and then you wrote the letter to the paper and put it in. If you wanna see the letter, go look for it. And the
So
other
maybe
comment we
maybe
have
there
there-
is no letter there.
Okay, you want to
Because I
change
don't
it?
remember a letter that you were told.
You want to
Yeah.
change it to what? To read what? That he was,
That he was negligent and irresponsible. And I'll bet Ed
Okay.
can pull that thing up so fast.
have you got anything else? You got any other
Yes, I do.
corrections?
On the bottom. The last sentence. Kenny then counted that Commissioner Babson had blackballed the previous minute taker
Yeah.
and disclosed information from the same non-public meeting.
So where are you reading? Which page?
Page 3 at the bottom.
Pay attention, will you please? The bottom of that same paragraph.
Okay.
Are you ready?
And go ahead.
Commissioner Kenney had then counted that Commissioner Babson had blackmailed the previous minute taker and disclosed information from the same non-public meeting. Commissioner Babson said this was not true, since the board had voted 2-1 to unseal the minutes, and I gave that in typing to Michelle. If I didn't, it's still on the machine downstairs.
Okay,
But I did
but I can
that.
take it down. Commissioner Babson said,
Well, why don't, I'll just get it for you downstairs, I typed
okay,
it out.
all right.
Next, page 5.
Yep.
Okay.
Last line in the third paragraph. He reminded her that she was often, has often complained that audits were not done timely.
Yep.
I changed that to not done in a timely manner. I think that was the last correction I had in here.
Priscilla, did you have a chance to review that grant from Victim Witness?
Yes, I did. I
Okay.
handed me a copy when I came in.
Priscilla, what was your last statement? Yes, you did, and,
Colbath, C-O-L.
no. I said, what was your last statement? I know who you are. What, he asked you if you had reviewed the grant, you said yes, you had, but I didn't get the last statement.
I did. Ed had emailed it to me, and then I looked at it,
Okay.
Oh, okay, thank you.
the copy here.
No further questions? No further comments?
All right.
Okay. Do I hear a motion to accept the minutes?
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes of June 4th.
Do I hear a second? I'll second it. All those, any further discussion on June 4th minutes? All those in support of the motion to approve the June 4th minutes as corrected, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, nay.
Both.
Why are you objecting, Commissioner Kenney?
Because she's going to say she cannot read my handwriting and I have to type it. So now I have two things to bring.
No, we just voted on June 4th. The one with the minutes that you couldn't read was May 28th. Why are you voting against these minutes?
Because I have corrections and I don't have them in, the corrections are not typed.
Why
Do you have
tell
any-
us what the corrections
Yeah,
are?
do you have any corrections that we could do right now before we
Oh,
vote?
no.
Oh, we voted
I
already,
will bring the typed ones in.
Well, we just, what good's that gonna do? We just approved these.
That's fine.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, there's something wrong when we have minutes here, and you ask for corrections, we don't, those that have corrections make the corrections, those that don't apparently sit on them, and then we, after we approve them, say they're gonna type them and pass them in. Why don't we save in the old days, it would be the typing ribbon and not do it, because I'm not changing the vote. I would like to know if she has a problem, what the problem is when
Yes.
we have the minutes. These are historical records.
Can I
and there's a
comment on that?
No, I'm gonna finish. And these are historical records, and you and I may be incorrect, and she may have a right answer, and if we don't hear them, how do we know?
Okay, now you've got.
Last week, I had bring on my corrections, and I needed to type it, so I thought it's going to be the same thing. So that's why I didn't bring it in, even if I gave you all the corrections. I did give it from last week's minutes, and I said, no, the best thing is to type it in. So why bother again and going and tell you what all the corrections are and statements?
Because at our meeting, that's the time to make the corrections before we vote to approve the minutes.
That's the time to be prepared and bring the corrections in, whether you typed them up or you're gonna do it verbally.
I
That
think,
is what I did last week. I did it verbally.
We're
I
not
just
talking about last
read
week,
it
we're
all.
talking about
okay,
this
okay.
week.
I think the problem here is that people don't do their homework.
Yeah, that's exactly what the problem is.
And therefore it delays, and I know over the last couple of years, things have gotten delayed, and things that we have approved, some of it was left out because it was delayed so long, people forgot as to what took place. Anyway,
I think my comment now.
so it was approved 2 to 1.
I think you forget even if you do something today, the next day you don't even remember.
Do we have anything else to bring up? Any other minutes?
Non-public minutes, no.
You had non-public?
We got a massive pile of public minutes, yeah, it's been a while since we've gone through them.
Which thing, the non-public?
Yeah, we got a big fat.
Okay, we've gone through public input.
Yeah, and I have-
What's the pleasure of the board? Do we want to go take a break? And then go over, look at the nursing home, and come back and do the non-public minutes? Or what's your pleasure?
How many
Yeah,
non-publics will we have
let's-
to do?
Let's take a
We
break.
got enough.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
What?
10.
10
Here,
now?
I got a piece of business here that I'd like to ask Ed and Priscilla if I could.
Well,
Still
let's
in the
answer
meeting.
my question first.
I don't care what we do.
Yeah, I think it is fine, we take a break, but what are we
What do you
doing
wanna do?
after the break? Do we have that call first? Because I hear we're going to
Oh,
have a call with the attorney.
That's right.
Well, that's right. we
I
do.
So
forget
when
about
are we
that.
doing that call?
The call is more
Are we doing it
important.
after the break?
Probably ought to do it first.
Yeah,
What are
I
we
think we
doing?
ought to do it right away.
Okay, so we do the call first.
So we go downstairs and we do
Doing
the
the
call,
call.
whatever that is.
Then we have a break. And after the break, we're going to look at the old nursing home.
Right?
I would go, I think the best thing is that we do the minutes first, the non-public after the break. And then we do after the non-public, the nursing home.
All right. Let's take a break right now.
I want to ask a quick question
Go ahead.
before we get in. Somewhere in the last week, I read somewhere about a grant. What have you two,
Three.
the committee, the three, what grants have you looked at so far?
Right, I have the state victim assistance grant application right here at 11:30. We're gonna meet with Melissa Smith
Okay?
and review this to quickly get this back to you so you can sign.
What grant is that, Ed?
This is the victim assistance grant application, victim witness.
Oh, I
It's the
thought
same
you,
annual one that
think
we get
that's
for
the annual, yeah.
25,000 or
Correct.
26?
That's the annual grant, yeah.
I thought you had just approved that. No.
We're meeting today at 11:30.
Okay.
I read something somewhere about another grant
Oh, so
that
y'all
didn't come
just-
before us.
You have any
The
others?
sheriff's department? No.
No?
Wait a minute, yeah.
So I have a
Yeah,
question. Is that the only grant you're reviewing at this moment? The only one?
That's
Victim witness?
correct.
Hang on, it's a-
The only other grant would be that high tunnel grant that comes from Cooperative Extension.
The hoop house, correct.
When that paperwork comes in, we'll give it to you. You got another grant?
That's exactly what it was, the way it was written in the paper. It sounded as if the grant had already been approved. That's what it was. Thank you.
We haven't seen it, so
No, we
it
haven't.
couldn't have
That's
been.
right. Thank you.
I think there was another one, but I can't, I'll look for it. I don't think they have it yet.
Okay. Correct me if I'm wrong, or make another suggestion. We will break, we'll have a recess, go down and make the phone call that we have to make. And the suggestion is that we come back up and do the non-public minutes?
No, I thought they have break after that. Oh, we can do that, that's fine. We can do the phone call, and then we can do the non-public minutes. And then after that, we can have break, that's fine.
Okay.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, but by that time, if we're going to lunch, and we get 11 sets to go through, it may be too late to go to lunch, so why don't you make
Well-
a telephone call, go to lunch, and then come back and do the non-public.
All right, this is what we're gonna do.
Okay.
We're gonna go downstairs. The top priority is to make the phone call because it has to do,
Yes.
I believe, with union contract. I could be wrong.
She said no. it
And then
was not you.
depending on the time after that, we will come back up here and do some non-public minutes. When it comes time to go to lunch, we'll have a recess. Okay?
Yep.
And then we'll decide from there when we're gonna go look at the nursing home, the old nursing home. Okay, everybody clear?
Okay.
All right,
You know how cooperative I am, of course.
all right, we're in recess. Okay, we, coming out of recess, we came back, we had to go in a non-public session to talk with the attorney. We came out of non-public. That was a non-meeting because it was a attorney-client privilege.
So that's not non-public, that's a non-meeting.
Yeah.
Well, it's a non-meeting, but we had to go in a non-public, according to the attorney that we talked with, okay? And then we went back in the non-public to review.
And tell them that we sealed the non-public minutes of the talk with our lawyer, just to be sure they were sealed.
There were no minutes taken,
There's
so,
no minutes.
okay? Went back into non-public to review non-public minutes from January through the end of June.
2013.
In reviewing that, we did not unseal any of those minutes. Okay? However, the first part of that non-public, we unsealed a lot of non-public minutes
That we hadn't approved, that we had just approved.
that we had just approved. We approved them in most cases.
Unsealed most of them.
We unsealed them, so they're available to the public.
David?
Yep.
I think what we said when we came back in, we had Michelle, could I be wrong? No matter what, we just said that we had a non-public, and that we write non-public minutes to say we had a non-meeting with a lawyer.
Yes.
I think, so that's the
Yeah.
one you said we didn't have any minutes. We wrote up a small set of minutes just so that Ed would be happy that he'd know we talked to the lawyer and that there was non-public and that there was nothing to seal because there were no minutes.
Wait a minute.
Well, there
You
were.
said there were minutes, and now you're saying there's no
Excuse me,
minutes.
there were, the minute simply said that there was no,
That was
It's a placeholder documenting that a meeting took place.
Yes.
just that a meeting took
Just that a
place.
meeting took place.
No
And
minutes.
and under what part of the RSA it happened.
Okay.
The non-meeting,
It's
yeah.
a
Are we,
non-meeting.
The non-meeting.
are we squared away?
Yes.
Yes. And I just want to add that we, I don't know, she already said that we seal the minutes, the one that we reviewed, but we also release several sets of minutes.
Yeah, I said that we released.
We already said
Oh,
that.
okay, so I
Yeah.
don't have to go through it.
And
Okay,
then we-
so we're in
Well, wait a
public.
minute, and we don't forget that we sealed we said that sealed the minutes that were gonna stay sealed. However you do that. It's a waste of time, it's ridiculous. When we came out, the first thing we said is we adjourned the non-public and that we saved the minutes, well, the minutes that were sealed stayed sealed.
State seal, right. Okay, that's been done. So now we're in public,
Yep.
and do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
Second, and all those, any comments regarding the motion? All those who support the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye, and so voted. We done.
I have 226.
What, does anybody know what time this thing is tomorrow for the?
It's downstairs.
It is downstairs?
Yep.
Okay.
We're all done?
Did I hear a second? Did you hear a second?
Do I hear a second for adjournment?
Yeah.
I did.